Okay, good morning, counsel. Good morning,
Morning,
Mr.
Your
Loya.
Honor.
I made reference at the end of the day yesterday to a concern a media member had relative to obtaining a transcript while everyone was watching the video, and I indicated they had no greater rights than the public. That was actually a written inquiry from the media. I'll just mark that for identification. Are you going to be proceeding with the video?
Yes. I would report to the court that last night Mr. Barros was able to cut off that last portion that we had discussed, and he cuts it off. Mr. Segadelli was able to see it this morning, right before any mention of the lawyer is made whatsoever. So both the transcripts and the video that would be shown would be consistent with that. Yes.
And that's appropriate as well for your needs and the needs of the professional witnesses?
Yes.
The experts, I should say, not
Yes.
professional witnesses.
Yes.
Experts.
Yep.
Mr. Segadelli, you agree?
Satisfied.
All right, let's bring down the jurors.
Just one,
Yes,
there's
okay.
one issue. I don't think it's an issue. Detective Doble is not here right now. He's on his way. I think there's a traffic issue, but I think we can, because he's already indicated this was a fair and accurate depiction, we could show the next
Difficulty
video.
with that, Mr. Segadelli?
No issues.
All right, let's bring down the jurors.
Would you like me to put these on or wait until they get here?
I'm sorry?
Should I put these there now or wait till they get here?
Have copies for everyone, please. I don't know if we've marked a B yet. Have we marked beef, the transcript B for identification?
I do not think so, Your Honor.
All right, we could have a B marked for identification if you have a copy for the court. Well, actually, I have the old copy. I can just edit from there.
This is ID I.
Let's bring down the jurors. How long is the interview, Mr. Loney?
It's approximately 1 hour. I think it was 1:06 with the 3 pages, and now those are gone.
Jurors entering, all rise, please. Court is now in session. Please be seated, folks.
Good morning, jurors. Are there any among you who have anything to report to the court by way of your having gained information about this case or been exposed to information about this case after we parted company yesterday? The jurors have no report. Attorney Glennie, is it your intention to proceed with the second interview?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Jurors, you should find on your seat a transcript marked Interview B. As I said with the first tape, the transcript is simply an aid to your understanding of the tape itself. It is the tape. Well, there I go, showing my age. It's probably some kind of a disc or DVD or something, I don't know. But the tape is the actual exhibit. If there is something on the tape that varies from the transcript, it is the tape that controls. The transcript is simply an aid, what we sometimes call a chalk in the law. Going back to a long time ago when people actually put things up on a board called a blackboard with a piece of chalk. Happened in elementary schools before you were born, young man. All right, let's get with it.
I'm just gonna go over your rights again too, okay? So right now, it's approximately 0900 hours. Put your name there. This says that you have the right to be found in the Roxville District Court for arraignment before a judge if the court is in session, and if not, at its next session. We understand that the court is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, excluding legal holidays. At the arraignment, you'll have the right to be represented by an attorney. An attorney will be appointed to represent you if you want one. And if it is determined that you cannot afford one, you can hire your own attorney, or that you cannot or can't afford one. The court will decide whether or not you will be released from custody or held on bail. You'll be notified of the crimes you're charged with, and you'll have the opportunity to enter a plea in those charges. And you understand within 24 hours of your arrest, you have the right to have a judge or magistrate determine whether the police have probable cause to arrest you. An arrest warrant reflects prior determination of probable cause. You understand that no statement you make 6 hours or more after your arrest will be accepted by the court unless you waive your right to prompt arraignment. You understand these rights. By signing this notice, you agree the police may question you before you appear before a judge. You understand that you will be brought to court during regular court hours as soon as reasonably possible after questioning. So we're just giving you that opportunity again. Okay? Do you understand those rights?
Yeah.
Okay, do you? Okay. So I just need you to sign right there. If you would, please. Can you just say your full name and date of birth?
Adrian Loya, Adrian Thomas Loya, February 5th, 1954.
Okay, one of the things we wanted to talk to you about was we discussed when you went into the room, when you reached the doorway, when you entered the bedroom. Can you go over again what happened when you entered the room?
I opened the door, and I yelled, face down, and
Okay.
then they didn't comply and repeated.
When you say they didn't comply, what did they do?
They basically began to go so that I was too tough.
They stayed in bed?
Yes. Told them to separate to either side. Instead of getting they stayed in the spot and started crouching. So they started getting,
When you say crouch, did they get out of the bed?
yes.
You know, what, crouching down on the floor?
Yeah. Basically, I guess like this, you know.
Okay.
Feet likewise out. I was making eye contact all the time.
You still had your mask on this room?
Yes. And I was thinking about it wasn't so. She said my name. I guess she was working on the kind of voice, or I said something.
When you say she, who do you
Lisa.
Lisa did?
I can ask her not to me.
What did you say when you took it off?
I think I said it in. It's me or something. I know I took it off and she said my name again. And then pretty sure after that just told her about it there.
What did you tell them?
That I was there because 2 years ago, the secretary told me.
Okay.
And,
Okay. What happened next?
then she started saying herself, and I jumped in, saying, you can leave now, and anybody walk away and grab something. This is not okay. Sorry. Working for walk away.
You said this.
No, I can say that. I'm just saying.
Oh, you were thinking that you had looking away I'm dressed.
Well, I told her, look away up. Like, look at me, here. This isn't, just little peep or something.
Right. You basically meant business, is that what you mean?
After that happened, did you do anything physically yourself?
No, I had cuffs.
I'm sorry, you had what?
I had zip tie cuffs and a little beard hanging here. I never,
Zip tight?
yeah, I never even used those.
Okay.
So I think I got rid of them in some parking lot.
Okay.
It's not right there. Had a regular, metal cuffs.
Handcuffs?
The back part of my belts. I was trying to get rid of those. Now, at this point, now I wasn't going to use them. The element was probably done. I have no actual experience handcuffing. And so you're just dangerous.
Why'd you bring handcuffs?
The original thing I thought, surprise, shock them out, bust them in there, and then they would be compliant. Scared. And then, want to use firearms inside the house.
And why was that?
Penetration through the walls. The actual
Well, the noise in the
viciousness, not so much that's why, just Lisa was the only target.
Okay.
I didn't want her hanging out. I didn't want anyone else on your side for Congo.
Right.
On your side.
Okay.
Yeah, since that fall, just try to fizzle.
Okay. You talked about the handcuffs. You said you had some metal handcuffs. Are they like similar to these type of handcuffs, as police handcuffs?
Yeah, but it's
So it's basically the same thing? When you remove those from your, did you remove those from your belt?
the way they're on, it's like a little thing that goes in the back of the belt like that. And I'm on a little pattern block.
Okay, so they were attached to your belt?
Yeah, so on the back, it's a little pack, has a folder, and a little block down thing.
Gotcha.
It's like attached on to press the thing. They just fold out, so fold down.
Right.
Um,
You took them off your belt?
Yeah, this is the super falling part where I was like, hey, you know, I'm not getting you out, put these on or something.
You told who to put them on?
And
You told them both to put them on? So, explain to me, you only had one set, you had two sets of handcuffs? All right. And you handed them to them?
like, basically, trying to toss them at least a ton of them on. And I got close, but I wasn't gonna force them to put them on. Right, I was trying to put an extra risk in it because it's
So you did physically grab Anna's arm?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, it was basically, you try to press it, thinking that's how it works.
Okay, so you physically went with a cuff and you tried to push it onto her wrist to see if it would...
Yeah, I really didn't want like force.
Right.
Basically, I thought it was just,
Well, do you know if it actually went around her wrist?
I'm like tossing to her or dropping the force saying, hey, you know how to use this.
What's she doing?
She what?
She didn't touch me.
What did Lisa do with the cuffs she gave her?
That was, she was over here, and it was over here, and I knew I just kind of gave it to Lisa, and I kind of tried to do something with it.
Is that because you were closer again? You standing closer?
Well, that was probably the weirdest thing I thought the whole time was Lisa was very, very pregnant, and it was the negotiator. She was, you know, some accident walking to our house, and it was just we talking about.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not exactly sure. She's like again, I don't know her very well, but every time I ever talked to her, she was always really nice all the time. You know, weirder from what my heard is. She's a Ukrainian English.
Oh, okay. And she's in the Coast Guard, right?
in the reserves.
Reserves. What does she do for a job, you know?
Not really.
No.
I think she's not IT.
When you came up here, did you attempt to follow Lisa at all? You came up first, correct?
Well, Sunday left the house. While you're up on Tuesday.
I'm sorry, okay, so you left your residential address in Chicopee, Virginia, on what, Chesapeake, on Sunday, and you arrived here at the Quality Inn on Tuesday?
Where'd you stay in between?
Pennsylvania?
Do you remember where?
No, this was actually kind of hard. My car broke down, and I was lucky even to find a hotel kind of there. And
You don't know what
I
what town it's
know
in?
it's outside of Scranton.
How did you pay for it?
That's regret.
You paid for a credit card? How'd you get car fixed?
No, there's a panic right there. Like there was it's like a trucker stop, I guess.
Oh, okay. How'd you pay for that?
And that was also very
So then you arrived here on Tuesday. When you came up on Tuesday, did you make any attempt to further your surveillance? Like you did in October you come up?
Yeah, I can't find a camera again.
Is the camera still there?
That was the first thing I did when I got up there.
And this is this time around?
Yeah, this morning. Go there,
What day was that? When did you put the camera on?
Well, it would be Wednesday morning, I guess.
So, after midnight Tuesday? What time did you arrive?
Not sure. I know it was after midnight, it wasn't anything past the.
Well, let me ask you this, so you arrive Tuesday at the Quality Inn, right, you check in. What kind of credit card did you use?
Bank of America.
Bank of America? Is that on your wallet? Okay, so you check in Bank of America, and then you say that you go over to her address. When did you go to the address?
Wednesday morning.
Tuesday night, Wednesday morning? And tell us how you got there that day, what happened when you arrived over there.
So I was going to do it for the first time. Was
Okay, well, just tell us.
check and then attach the camera scenes by the last time.
Okay.
So
So you put the camera up on the tree, and you left.
he left
You went back to 101? And did you go back to retrieve the camera?
this morning. Just verify that she was on.
So that you retrieved the camera today after midnight? What time do you think you got there approximately? Around 2 a.m. or 1:50?
Then I started at
Okay, so you go back at 1:50 today's day. You get the camera off the tree. You go back to 101.
no, I go back to my car. Plug it in. It's
And where was your car at when you were examining the
in
field?
the parking right across the
In the condo where the incident took place?
so you got the workplace, street, and parking lot.
Okay. So you sat in your car, viewed the camera. What did you see when you looked at the camera?
Base there from all Wednesday morning, get me to work. There was a bunch of videos on there, but all I can verify is just very last one.
And that verified you knowing that what you saw in the video was her. And then after you verified that she was there by viewing the camera, what did you do?
Then I commenced the mission.
And that's when you, once again, tell me again, what did you put in the backseat of the vehicle? How did you ignite the car on fire?
Just
Did you say you put some charcoal on the back?
perfect.
So you placed charcoal what, the backseat?
And that was also another thought of taking the snow storm coming up. And I was like, I didn't think my car just broke down as a weird mechanical thing. I thought maybe I'll be stuck in the middle of the road in a fire. And I brought charcoal in there. But the fire outside the road was
Before, after, or?
no, this is for the before because I got stuck in some.
Oh, okay. And then
Yeah,
you ended up using that
Yeah, the original just
to
like,
ignite the vehicle.
you know, I've seen flares burn pretty hot and just get the car apart. My original plan was just to stop the car there.
But you didn't want to use, you brought a shotgun, you brought a pistol, you brought an AR-15, but you didn't want to use those on Lisa?
No,
So what was your
That's
original intention?
the weapon for the shotgun special was where you just shot him out. Wasn't gonna,
And to enter the home?
right, that was
Two purposes.
You could lock them like that, or lock on the door. I saw, videos and things and movies, how vicious it looks, just exploding, sound, people rushing in. So I was like, I'll use that. And it looks like it's kind of guaranteed that it'll people.
Did you know where to go when you were in the home?
And
How did you know that?
that was also weird. And then the website I used when I was looking for a home in Chesapeake. And it lists, homes, even after they've been sold or rented out or rented for a while. And some of the advertisements for, there's one house.
It's like a virtual
It's sort of like,
shelter.
take a picture of this wall, take a picture of that door.
So describe to us, when you were able to pull up this particular Lisa's address, what did it show you?
Nothing.
What
Nothing.
did it show?
Yeah, the website showed nothing for that address.
How were you able to determine that that was her address?
So I was looking at how the map looked, and I saw that each of these little sections of buildings was counted all over the place. There was there were setbacks. So I found the ones that looked like the same spot where hers was at, and some of those had neighbors still. And that was what it looked like.
So I guess, basically, you correct me if I'm wrong, so you put her name into Google, and it gave you the address of the one. Is that right? And then you went to Google Map, put that address that, it showed you that address, and then you went from there. Excuse me, I know, you had talked about the handcuffs, and you neglected to tell us that before. Is there anything else?
I told you about that.
Well, maybe you did, I don't recall.
Check the report.
Okay, yeah, we speak for itself, right? Is there anything else, pieces that maybe that you didn't tell us, or you forgot to tell us? I know you said when you went down back that you thought of,
I guess the knife is split.
I'm sorry?
The knife is split.
Well, that's what I wanted, because if you weren't, the shotguns for shocking off, what are the pistol and the AR-15 for, if they're not for Lisa?
That was for engaging.
Plan B?
Mhm.
Okay, not
No,
Plan B, but
Yeah,
Plan
the firearms were for.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, that's okay. So you go upstairs, and earlier you had said something kind of, before the mattress was flung at you, you had said something was weird or something was odd. What went wrong there? They weren't complying the way you thought they would?
Yeah,
It said something like that, because what was your main intention? You're not going to use a gun. How are you going to, as you had said earlier, remove her?
and I said from, I don't know what her training is like for her career as part of it. I've had training where I'm not the person, delivering it, but I'm like I guess I'm like another victim or the law enforcement guys in the Coast Guard. Hey, we need the body, just do our stuff. So then I volunteer, and then they yell it, and I was like training. We go, okay, I gotta get down, and say get down, keep your hands together. Nothing.
Right.
Just as training for that. And, so I sort of expected, since they're posties, to
Slip into the train.
and then just be cuffs to, secure in place, crazy movements, make sure Andy's out of the way, Victor. I did want to, I brought two sets of, your protection, set of inner ear and outside ear.
Yeah.
I want to put the outside ones on, and instead. Because I didn't want to hear the noises,
What noises?
anything that police would make.
What were you planning to
The
do?
original plan was to tease them out,
In what way?
just in straight to the heart. Nothing quick, fast.
Were you planning on, you thought about this, were you planning on saying anything while you were doing that?
Yeah, I was telling her why, that not just, hey, we're not in the room, and you're talking some word.
And what words have you picked for that one?
It was mostly just, hey, remember me, if not, this is who I am, what we do. Here's just a little quick little recap saying, hey, 3 years ago we met, a year later, assaulted me, and then a year later, I'm now going to fill in somehow what you do. I'm now actually bad guy. I'm like this.
So, like proving her right, is that what you're saying? That you are the actual bad guy?
Not proving it right, just saying it's looking creative at all. So all I wanted was, I guess, good stuff.
Originally.
I didn't want to say that. It's just, I do truly hate her. It's like,
Early on, did you want a relationship with her?
the very, 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 very beginning, you know, I was attracted to her just as a, you know, as a pretty girl, but I knew she was engaged and,
To a woman?
no, I didn't know this until 7 months later.
Oh,
So,
but that engagement was to a woman?
yes, but even if it was a woman or, you know, do like out getting, you know, sorry, you know, even me, like I'm super single. I don't really like relationships, but I liked her as a person. You know, she started talking to me first. She talked to me all the time, and all the people I knew at the shop, she talked to me more about other things and not just normal work and stuff. So I did like her as a friend person. She was really nice. And she got married, and it got weird, where I was always getting in trouble somehow.
Right.
But
Some of it was just misinterpreted.
yeah, misinterpret stuff, but even then, I'm sorry, you know, just where I am, I stay away until they come back and say, hey, you know, break this time. You know, I'm not very good at parents, so obviously. So I just kind of wait till she was fine with me again and back up my stuff until that one time she really yelled at me and I stopped. Just a bunch of stuff went down and I was like, I'm not happy anymore. Then I got resolved, like a typical point, everything that happened was gone. And then a week later, she invited me to her house.
And that's when the assault took place. And you said there was no intercourse? Do you mind describing exactly what happened? As far as, because it was a sexual assault, correct? She was drunk. Had you been drinking?
I had one drink, but it was very weak.
Do you normally drink?
You know, around that time, maybe twice a month, but not like heavily.
Had you been in any relationships while you were in Alaska?
No.
No girlfriends?
I had stopped right away.
Stop it.
Happened to, you know, trying to date.
What happened in 2009?
I just gave up. I realized it wasn't worth it. But in 2012, exactly, I learned about a personality disorder. It's called schizoid. Even to me, it sounded weird. I heard it in the Kanye West song, just the word schizoid. I didn't understand that that was something words. And eventually, it's like, holy crap, that's me. And then I realized there's a definition right here, why I just accept it. And that actually made me feel pretty good because I had felt just a weirdness and socially in that person.
Yeah, there's an answer to your question.
So even then, I still want to have, you know, friends along. So even then, when she invited me over, like, hey, this is the first time she actually had ever said, hey, come on over. Before it was just, you know, events around the shop or a couple of, I had one meeting right in my house, there was a movie thing, we're all together. There was nothing, just me and her.
Right.
But at that point, I was treating her like, you know, just one of the guys. And all their guys, I hung out with them individually, you know, with their lives, without their lives, just like them.
And this is a personal question. Were you sexually active before then?
2009 or?
No, at any point. I mean,
Well, yeah, when I was dating.
okay. So you had sex with women before. All right. And so what happened that night when you went over there?
That's military training. You don't, number one, you don't go with another member's wife.
Right.
You know, not even just the military, it's just a basic, you know, civilized thing. And there's also the transit. This is example number one in all the textbooks is drunk person, guy comes over, he's not drunk, takes advantage of the person, you know, waves them, and then they go off and do whatever that personality rules. You know, I'm not that guy, so
Did she make that accusation?
I was scared of that accusation. You get out.
You were scared of her, but did she make it?
No, that's the thing. I didn't find out until way later on. I gave it letter. She wouldn't even realize what she actually did. She knew something weird happened, but she didn't exactly know what she did.
So what did happen?
well, she brought me over, I brought over a DVD set of The Simpsons, which I think I like them. She told me, bring some booze over, and I had a bottle of vodka from several, from that one game night we had in my place, and it was never even opened. It was bought for something else too. So I brought that over, but even then I was like, this is not, this isn't even like a beer or something. So I brought that over, she opened the door, with a big old smile. She said my name clearly, there was no, slur words, no waddling or anything like that. She was Lisa, but she was happy and beauty Lisa.
She'd already been drinking, you think? Is that what you
So
said?
yeah, she was not the normal at work Lisa. She was, the very person that I could was kind of so she invites me in. I show her the DVDs and she said, okay, fine. She grabs a bottle, goes up to the kitchen, and I kind of take my boots off, and then I fall out to the kitchen. She already has 2 wine glasses out, and she has a fork screwed to the bottle, and this is vodka, and it's just a screw top. And she had already plunged her right through it, and I was like, okay, it's a dollar. She's not all the way there. I tried to stop her. She's like, no. She finally pulled it off and she started pouring it on the whole wine glass. And I think it's not wine, it's vodka. And she's like, oh, sorry, I guess it's vodka. No, this is wine.
Yeah.
And ow. So then, so just that one wine glass, she put ice in both of the things and she split it. We found some pineapples, and pineapples, or these juice from this. Split that, and that was the only drink I had, and that's one drink I she had when I was there. I don't know what else she had for me. I did see a large, like handle,
Yeah.
with a turkey patties, golden eyes, and a couple of patties. So I don't know how much she had of that, or it's like she already just kind of got the games from there, whatever. So went back to the living room, and she only has this, couch about this big, and she sat, like this. So I thought, okay, it's already kind of weird. So I'll sit on the opposite side of this coffee table that was there, and I was sat around. It was exactly comfortable. So watching, I think, the first half of the episode, and I realized, you know what, I'm going to sit on the couch because, number one, I'm not going to do anything. 2, she's gay, so she shouldn't do anything. And 3, she's put back at praying, so, nothing but weird thoughts I've had right now should happen. So I told her, hey, I'm on the couch.
Well, were you having weird thoughts?
Just, even though it's just us, I can imagine, someone walking like, why are you, why are you with her, or, why are you at this American's house?
Right. But no, so not a weird thought sexually.
No, it was the connotations of it.
Right, how it looked, the appearance, the perception. And sometimes that's reality.
And even then, we had just only been there for a week after a month of we even look at each other.
Right.
She couldn't find anybody else, but she was friends with everybody she got. So that's where I felt kind of weird that she might be of all people, and especially when she's drunk, which makes her make some decisions you wouldn't make, or you want to make, but you shouldn't. Or
Right.
once you have a couple drinks, you start doing what you kind of want. So I kind of, saw that, but I was like, it just doesn't make sense. I have a couple drinks, I'm going down some duty. I'll get against it, but just flip the switch like that on a weird time. I don't think she told me she knew she was gay, so she was, 40 years old. So I sat there, finished the episode. I get up to go fill up my glass of water. And I come back, and I didn't really think much of it. So I sit on the couch, again, something up this big. You stick up all that side, take all this side. So our sides are kind of rubbing. That's what this is. But then next episode goes on. She's kind of laughing. Like it's like it's a very weird. I was gonna laugh because I think I shouldn't be laughing. Kind of laugh. And then she'd make like a moaning noise. And the way that it's set up, like I'm sitting here, she's sitting here. She's way up in that direction. It's a very weird angle. So I'm sitting against the corner to stay away from her, and just kind of block that. But I see just like a movement in my eye. I'm not trying to, also make weird food actually. But then I finally look, and she has one arm here on her side, and she has the other hand going around circles on her vagina.
What's she wearing?
She had jeans on, but just over it.
Alright.
So she's going around in circles on that, and making money for herself. So that's when I started stiffening up, like body-wise. I just kind of probably like this, and then I just kind of really tightened up like this. She was there so often, and then she finally just kind of, in her hand, there's a crease in the couch between two cushions, and she just kind of stopped it like this. And she was like, lean back and back and look at me. And, I stopped to look at the TV that way, so I kind of see her, and she's very, very weird. And then she takes her hand, she puts it out toward my face, like it's right here. And then she picks her head and leans in. I only took it as a kiss, but I'm still just sitting like this and just kind of staring.
Get the Simpsons.
I walk her out.
Alright.
So then she goes in and she opens her eyes and she's still just kind of like there and floating. And I just went to the joke, I totally forgot who you with. So we come to kind of like stick on her blonde little wife or something. She doesn't say a word, and she just goes back and sits. And she's there for a couple minutes. And she just jumps up and goes to the bathroom. And I don't hear anything. And I'm already freaking out. And this is where it starts to make. Sorry.
Sorry, can you take a minute?
No. Oh, why?
Just take a minute.
This stuff.
This is this happened to you over the years, right? Because of this?
It's just so.
She kind of fucked with you, right? She's betraying A, but then she puts on B for you. Is that what?
Yes, and no. Let's just leave it. It's the fear. So, even though like once around, it was only like very long.
Is that how you felt on the couch when she was in the bathroom?
Yes. Because I was thinking like I should just get up now and go. It's already bad. She's away. Just put your back on, get out of here. But I'm shaky. It's very good for me. Check cold or stuff like that. But she comes back inside the living room and beelines into the TV. She shuts it off. She goes to her bedroom.
She's saying?
No. She slams the door. So like, okay, this is clear as day. Take a lot. I go to put my boots back on. So I put them on and I hear the heavy thump. It sounds like a bottom. The first time I was like, she passed out. She just blacked out somehow. And it sounds soft like someone falling down, but I don't know how she hit her head, slammed her chin, smacked it on the floor or something. So I rush and I go up to the door. And I knock. And there's no response.
There's no response, you said?
No response. Like, I'm knocking because I should just open the door, so you're okay or something. Let's see, in training, knock on the corner, stand attention to whatever. Especially if you're a bird in there, you don't just go in there. So, I thought she was in danger. I can't go in because of the rules. She opens the door, she smiles, she's like, fine. Like, okay, fine. We'll take her to bed, I'm gonna take off. And I'm saying that as I'm walking to the door, out the door. And I say, watch her behind. Without, to go out loose and run out something. But she says, hearsay, no, it's a fur, turn back and look. And she has her hand on her hip. She has her hand up like this. She's smiling. She's doing this spectrum. She's like, come on, let's go. At the very, let's go to work. Let's do this. Come on, let's do it. And just like
Still clothed?
yes, and she's just halfway. I'm halfway through the room. She's just at the door of her bedroom. And she comes over. And she hooks my arm. She pulls me to her bedroom. So she goes in there, and I'm following her. It's very, it's not natural. Even if you're holding hands, kind of follow. It's a walk that isn't right. So I follow her, and she stumbles. So I go to grab her, seriously, to the hips, and she moves back, and she puts her hand on the head like that, and does like a scratch. And then since my hands are on her hips, she's already, she puts her hand on top of my hand. And she's like, come on, let's get that through it. And then she turns around and takes me to her bed, like sits me down, and I'm already very say like some kind of good shock. But she calls me back. She says like, "Come on, it's okay. Do it. Just don't tell her." And that's the other part was like, she knows what she's doing. Like, what happened after that? She's like, "Oh no, she's drunk. She didn't mean it." But her words were not slurred. They weren't. They were complete sentences in a way. She knew what she wanted and what she was doing. Come on, she never said any kind of let's have sex or any kind of slur or slang. She always just, let's do it. And one time, come sleep with me. But I just sat there on the edge of the bed and I was just shaking. I said, no. I was like, no, it's fine, if you're drunk, no. And then I finally, I don't know how long it was, it felt like a while. Stood up, I was like, I'm just gonna take off now. I'll go. And I just left her behind me. But I kept staying in the door. I really wanted to close the door and lock it. So I leave her bedroom, and she yells at me in a very angry tone, like, she said, like, what the fuck's the problem, man? Because it's kind of bad. And I know I did say it louder, and I was like, no. And then she yelled my name really loud, like doing terrible statements and stuff. So I was like, okay, I just go back in there, and she's trying to use, harm herself and sort of like move or something. She's still stay lying in bed, and come on, get in bed. Come on, I'm tired. And then I'll say it. I'll sleep, spend the night. I'm gonna sleep on the couch. Good night, so I left the room and went to, I go straight to the couch, like a little kitchen table. And I sat there, knowing that it's a horrible situation, and I felt real like to defend myself in the, not in a physical sense, but a moral sense. I went over there, I brought alcohol, saw this shit drunk, I went to do it without facing each other away. I still went inside, told me to be all fine. But then she yells my name again, my question, She was like, oh, is it windy outside? Yeah, it's windy. She was, that's all right, I can pass that out. So I just realized, okay, she's not harmless. It's the color. It's kind of labor, come up. No, it's like, I got there around 2 o'clock in the morning. And I stayed there till 6:30 or so.
You showed up at 2 o'clock in the morning with the DVDs and the vodka?
Yeah,
This is in Alaska, so it's daylight?
No, it was already been starting to dark.
Alright.
But yeah, so on Saturday, the late night called.
Where was Aaron?
She was on, she got activated for reservist duties. She was in Barrow, Alaska. So, anyway, that was a special thing that she called me.
So, 6:30? What happened at 6:30?
She wakes up, goes to the bathroom, and she comes over to the bed, the couch, and she like telling me, hey, this is, it's kind of too small for you. It's fine. And then I was there, kind of sat up, and she was down in her underwear, it was a t-shirt. But when she changes to that, she was passed out, she was in her clothes still. So she changed in the bathroom, or sometime she'll be dead. But for some reason, I'm like, okay, she's talking to me like normal, in this attire. This must mean it's fine. She's not asking me to sleep with her anymore. She's asking me to stay longer because she thinks I'm drunk or something. It's not fun. And she had to leave.
You left the apartment?
Yes, I left the place. But then after that, I didn't realize what really happened to me, and I slowly started to read. Where I know for a fact, because this was on September 9th, 2012, August 30th, I weighed myself. Because I had weight issues in the first one. And my max was 208, I was 205, and I've been hovering on that for a while. August 30th, I weighed myself, because October was and I was 205 still. Which really made because I was doing a lot of running, I was enjoying it, but I was running a lot, which I never really did. By the second week of October, I was down to 180. And I stopped looking at that.
How much you weigh now?
No, back to, I think 221.
And you attribute your weight loss to what happened that
I
night?
couldn't eat. For a good 2 weeks, well, for a week I couldn't really eat. And then next week I was able to shut down applesauce. But I felt like this weird guy with like some really after that night. I was just trying to brush my teeth. I started getting it. And tried to put it in my mouth, I couldn't swallow.
Did you see a doctor?
Yeah, I went to see medical after the 4th day of this.
Yeah.
Because I was now nauseous with no food, I guess. But every morning I wake up just gag. Nothing came out. And
What did the doctor attribute?
I told him about nauseous. He pressed around. And I was like, that hurts. I'm like, okay, like some other, but then I realized from all the dry heaving, my abs are now sore from pushing all the time. But then he asked me, like, when you, how often do you poop? I'm like, well, even on good health, it's like maybe twice a week at most. Very not really well, that stuff.
That's not good, Adrian.
And he's like, oh, well, here's what's wrong with you. You need some Metamucil. And I was like, okay.
So they thought your problem was
On some
your digestion.
So I got a day off because they told me to go shoot my brains out or something. I choked myself down and all that came out was.
So were you very upset because of the fact that you knew that she had a relationship?
No. Once I actually found out she was in a gay relationship, I was actually, this is awesome. Like, once I found that, I was like, well, good for you, good for, getting married. It was as 2 women. Yeah, after that point, like, I had some connection to her, but it's more just like, okay, she's pretty and she's nice to me. It wasn't anything more than, this little
But you were mainly upset because of the fact that knowing that she had that relationship and,
Yeah.
So what upset you about the,
see,
yeah, that evening? Because I'm having a hard time calling it sexual assault. You know, to me, as a police officer.
That's what.
I was waiting for the part where you'd said, and then she, you know, grabbed my penis. And
Well,
that
that's,
didn't happen,
that's the
so-
part where I knew the legal definition was rape is some kind of,
Insertion, penetration, yeah.
sexual assault
Digitally or
is just the intention to do something. From how I understood it.
well, did she actually touch you or physically?
She grabbed me,
I know-
over the bed.
I know you said that she had grabbed you at, you said by the side of your head and maybe scratched you a little bit.
Yeah,
That, as far as physical touching goes,
she had never touched me before.
okay, but in that particular baby, the only physical touching from her to you was the hand by the side of your head, is that correct?
And her hand touched my hand, and,
Did she ever touch you in your private area? Did you ever touch you in your private area?
so
That's what precipitated from September 9th, 2012 until now. That's kind of been fueling the fire.
right, because when she got married, it was in January of 2012. As soon as she gets back to the island, she got married in New York. My car had again, it was down because
Same car?
in the same car, there was a bad snowstorm in Kodiak, and then it rained, so it flooded the roads. It was my duty week, so I had to go in early to go shovel the snow from the shop. And so streets weren't plowed, and I kept on driving, thinking it was just a puddle, it was actually working with water, working with farming. So I was down for like 3 months or so. So when she got back in January, this was the beginning of January, she was down, and she came back, she's like, hey, Roy brought this for some drinks, and food, Anna. I can't go out today, I'm not people. So we all looked at love. And that's where I first met her, and then when I heard tell she was like me, she was that side face when she first saw me.
You felt she didn't like you.
Yeah, I didn't understand, but of course I've seen her.
Right.
But then I talked to her at the bar, and she was really nice. And then a couple weeks later, and previous to that, I couldn't receive postal in my apartment. Small town, but Lisa could. So I'll send stuff to her place, and she'll either give it to me at work, or I'll just drive down and pick it up. Just quick little bit. I had some stuff at work for my birthday that year. And went to her house, and they're very large boxes. And to get to this car, and I didn't have my car to pick it up. So she took her one of the boxes when to pick up that night. And then there's another box that was really large. And we had this GP, we were driving down for something. I'm like, hey, I know this wife, this guy here, and she's done a job or anything. She should be home, so I can pick up this box with a big stupid sword.
What?
The stupid sword, like a massive big fantasy sword.
Oh, a sword.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
No, it doesn't look like that. It's like a giant piece of stone.
Okay.
But it was, either way, it's just large and very piercing. So it was me and a couple guys from work. We drove by, and I went to the door, knocked, shut the door. It's like, hi, I'm like, hey, here's the box. I was like, it was right there. It's like, oh, here you go. Grabbed it. Thank you. And that was it. And then the guys went back to my place, opened it up, shut the room, and went back to the shop. But the morale of that day was we're watching a movie on base. And as soon as we pull in our duty, we get out and start walking towards the shop. One of the guys there, Luke Little, in his Jeep, pulls up and cuts me off from my walking into the thing. And he just yells at me and said, what the fuck are you thinking? Going to Lisa's house. And I was like, I thought he was, yelling loud over saying his income. Like, oh, I just started looking at this box. I was like, you don't go to her house like that. You always see people, go by my house when I'm not there, so I'm like, kick her ass. Like, oh, they're like, no, I just went to go box. And then Lisa pulled up behind her. And then she jumps out of her car, and Lisa's not much of a tomboy, she's very feminine. She comes out of the car, and she has her arms out wide. Like, what's her problem, man?
To you?
Yeah. And she gets mad, she says, man. And I'm like, oh, I picked the box and told me yes. And she says, well, I see you, Carl, walk up and around. Okay, I just came back to the box, and Anne was just sitting in the car at the time, staring at him.
This is February 2012, before.
Yeah, well, January 2012, before, this is the first thing that ever happened. The first real thing, because before that, me and Lisa was my brothers. I go inside, and one of the guys like, what the hell did you do there? And I don't know, I just went to go pick up his box, like, I don't know, Lisa and the wife came in, and he said, just went over there on the downs, and then barged with us, like, no, I knocked on the door, waited, came, didn't see inside, the door opened, she came in knocking on the door. And she's like, oh, and I got up and then just watch out of them. So I thought that's the first I was going to get in trouble, and the Coast Guard could not say whatever they want. I think they had two witnesses with me. But, like, hey, where's we were doing, I've done recently, he's recruit something. It really was, I'll just pick it about this. And so I stayed away from her, I think she was really mad at me. She invites me over for a Super Bowl that came that year, which was on my birthday. I told her, no, I'm not going to your house at the camp. And then she's like, why? Like, because he yelled at me. And so this like a couple days before that, and we day up and text me like saying, hey, your son, why are you coming over? No, I told him not going to your house. So that month we kind of okay, it wasn't anything bad. We were friends with him. I invited her over to, we had another morale at work. I brought some of the games, set up projectors, played games.
Is morale very low in the Coast Guard?
Well,
It seems like you had a lot of morale there.
in Kodiak, it was.
I guess so.
Because for our shop, we had 2 months.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't-
So I didn't cut you out. Go ahead.
That's a weird thing that morale stuff really comes up with. That's when Anna would be present.
Yeah, because you bring family members,
But
MWR.
that was the other thing. No one ever brought those guys. Most happens. One of the things that we brought in. Anyways, so I set the room, people come in and out, and I play games with them. They stayed in there the whole time. And I hadn't talked to them really since the bar night, basically. Which was, mid-January, early January. And they just hung out and helped me the whole time. Felt good, felt like, we're here, buddies here. Then a couple weeks later, I went to I had a job to delegate. These 2 guys who were working on the job are leaving because they're transferring out. They saw some time. So there's Lisa, Luke Little, and this guy Carl. Carl just got promoted. He was just trying to get to know the area for the whole job area. But Luke and Lisa, since Lisa arrived to the island, had only worked with Luke. And apparently Luke before, nobody ever wanted to work with her. But then once Lisa came to the island in September, they were inseparable. They would come to work in the morning, grab a GB, and were gone until the work was over. So everybody's like, always saying stuff goes back and don't do anything. But they always said, oh, we should separate them, So it was my chance to shine a little bit. So I was like, okay, here's what we do. Like, Lisa, get with the 2 guys, get that project, worry about it, you'll work with somebody else. Carl, get with Luke, because Luke is a very good IT guy, he knows his stuff. But Carl, get with him, so he works with stuff, and then next we switch around. After I said it, Carl, okay, so somebody's telling me to do something, not just tossing stuff. It's like, oh, yeah. Luke is kind of whatever. Lisa immediately talks back saying, like, what's your problem? Like, why are you separating us? Why are you considered a hater? I'm just telling you, these guys, if I want all the dogs to sit around, I want these 2 guys finish this project, take off and down, and no one knows what he did. So that's all I want, just want them all to sit around. She's like, yeah, I got the first time. We done. And she doesn't even look at it this time, she's just going to turn around. So everybody's looking at me, as, I was the only one delegating the job out. What's the way
You're the supervisor, technically, right?
Yeah, that's for that one thing. Like, what's the way to do about this? And I didn't do anything. But then I was like, okay, I must have lost whatever military bearing. From the first 6 months, I knew her being very friendly. I didn't have to work with her though. She sat right next to me, but we never actually worked. To actually also group all the time. And then once the next month we had this weird little arguments about it, which we all So I was gonna act like a eventually live out there, not call her Lisa anymore, call her ITP or pass with the landlord or something. And this went on for about 2 weeks, and I'm not an angry person. I think I really don't get angry much. But it started coming up as I was angry, you know. Whereas like I didn't have any fun talking to her, I wanted just work specific talk. She wanted to say something really fun. I just kind of ignored it and just turned off the conversation. When I started getting angry, though, I was just trying to pretend to be angry more. So I don't like how I was going about it. So okay, now it's time to just kind of talk with Lisa, tell her, hey, you can't just talk back like that. You know, if you don't like what's going on, you know, have constructive feedback, tell me what I said wrong, or how the job could be done better, and we'll talk it through. Don't just, you know, try to piss off until you do something. She almost started crying at that point. I was talking where I'm talking now, just put her monitor and telling her how it all just went down. But then after that, we were friends for about, like, really good friends for about 2.5 months, where we worked all the time together. Definitely, I never worked before together. I stopped using TVs that I didn't like them for like very large 4x4s. Use my little car to get around. And she would jump in my car with me and drive around to our work stuff. And we started talking a lot more and everything. And then that's been coming the end of August, no, in July. And I told her to, I was with Will that day, he's supposed to work with me all day. But the first thing he does is grab his GP, sends an instant message to Lisa saying, hey, let's get out of here. And he just leaves. And I already told him the day before, hey, you're staying with me all day to do this work, we need to do this next project coming up. So Lisa starts getting up, and I tell her, hey, are you going with Lou? And she's like, yeah, like, no, you're supposed to stay here with me today. I already told him, but yeah, I told you too, but you know, I'm not his boss. I'm like, all right, since you're not going with them, go bring him back inside. Don't leave with them. Don't let the music take off with them. Come back inside right now. And she's like, okay, fine. And she leaves. It's been for almost exactly 20 minutes. I'm just sitting there on my desk. And finally, Luke comes in as if nothing happens. It's like, okay, whatever. And he just gets working. And then lunch rolls around, Lisa comes back with what she was doing. And she goes right in front of me, and she yells at me. And I've never heard her yell before. She yells at me, she's very angry with me. And she's mad that I told her to do something. And, you know, it was very weird. I told her to do something, and that she was treating her like a kid. But then I was also over here with Lou. She did, you know, the wrong thing this morning, but I'm over here acting nasty jokes and laughing at something. And she came in, and I'm over here treating her like. But then I said, I tried to say something, I don't think I'm actually make words. And she says, like, nah. And she spun around, and then she's not. So, like, and the way I am, I knew she was mad, and then I'm there sitting down over there. And the next day happened, and you know what? She's still pretty nice there. And then, you know, the rest of the week, and the next week, and the next week, and the next week, it's a month. To where it's not just me being, you know, hey, let's go cool down, like, I'm now kind of scared of her. And I don't really have a lot of scare at that point, but I couldn't look at her when she walked by. We sat, like, here's my desk, there's a little partition, you see her on top of her head, so she sat right there.
And that went on for a month?
For a month.
Wow, that must have been uncomfortable.
Yeah, so, and there's another guy, like, he's my friend, like, Black. I just talk to him all the time, but I stopped, you know, in case she was around, I stopped, you know, talking. During the morning meetings, you know, like I talk, but I don't still talk that much. And I was with, during morning meetings, we talk for 2 cents and everything, like what we do, and we were like, hey, you guys work this server, you know, use this password, I stopped sharing anything. During morning meetings, I just kind of, instead of standing up to join in, I just kind of sat back and keep in the corner. And then there's the home stuff, I just didn't feel so hot anymore. Yeah, I just did it. That's where my first like actual depression started coming in.
This is prior to September
Right.
2012.
It started getting pretty bad And then at the end of that month, it was a full month, and we had to take a bunch of new computers, came and some belts, a bunch of them. So they said, okay, we're getting the GBs, go down to the warehouse, and go back. So I just jumped over to IC, and it's one dude, Shane, one next guy, and it's Lisa on the front side, because I just took the back seat, and I didn't know she was in there. So we just drive down, I know she's still mad at me, you know, so I just slip by it. Shane knows something weird, so we just kind of drive in the truck. And then we get in line at the warehouse, and we sit there waiting, we see we start jumping in, out. And
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? No question, 1 second. I'll go talk to him first.
Yeah.
So I was, yeah.
you find that I got started on it. Again, it's in that whole paper.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind listening to the story, but we're gonna hold on for a second. I'm just trying to get a grasp of, you know, what led to this morning's events. You know, trying to understand it, try to understand you. Sounds like there was a lot going on before the assault took place. And again, I don't wanna.
That was everything to CJS, because I knew, you know, even with all the training, there's all, you know, physical sexual contact. Actually, something weird happened. I was not getting upset about her. Because everything she goes, okay, you know, what about my house? I was drunk, you know, and I fucked up son or something. I was like, here's what happens. You know, even I don't really think it's sexual assault.
And this was after September. How long after?
This was in March of 2015. So to them,
So we're looking at 6 months.
when I went to them, like, told them it wasn't, like, yeah, this is just office drama, this is sexual assault, and it started investigation.
So June 2013 is when you got the Chesapeake, right?
Because I started on July 2nd.
Jurors, are you all comfortable? Does anyone wish a break at this time? All set? All right.
You're not offering this as an exhibit?
No objection.
Next number, exhibit, please.
Number 68.
Sergeant Doe was right outside. If you could just come in, please.
If you get that chair too, please.
When you're on.
Good morning, Mr. Doble. You were originally under oath, I believe it was 2 days ago. That oath remains in effect today, sir. Thank you.
Sir, would you kindly look at this? Tell me if you recognize what that is.
Yes, I do.
What is that, please?
This is a form that's supplied by the Massachusetts State Police regarding a prompt arraignment notification and a waiver.
And was that used in this case?
Yes, sir, it was.
Was that done in your presence?
Yes, it was.
Just tell us, what did you observe to take place?
What I observed was Detective Donovan to read out loud this prompt arraignment form to Adrian Loya in the law library.
And then what did Mr. Loya do, if anything?
He signed this, and he also dated it, and he signed it.
You're not offer this?
No objection.
Next number, exhibit, please.
69.
That's all I have this witness.
Cross-examination if you wish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Then Detective Doble, you prepared a police report pursuant to your activities in this investigation, right?
A actual police report, no.
Narrative of Detective, you're John F. Doble, are you not, sir?
Yes, sir.
So that would fair to say that's your report?
In this particular report, yes.
Yeah, you thought I meant the report of the interview?
Correct.
Okay. Well, pursuant to your investigation training and experience at that time, you learned from fellow officers what time Mr. Loya was taken into custody?
Yes, sir.
What time was that?
I don't recall the exact time.
Just perhaps to yourself, if that refreshes your recollection.
It was at approximately 2:48 in the morning.
That's all I have.
Anything further? Thank you, sir. You may step aside.
May I remain in the courtroom?
Well,
Drew?
I don't have an issue with that.
That's fine, no objection.
you may.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Detective Diane Branch?
Jurors, why don't you take 5 minutes? 5-minute break.
Court, all rise for the jury.
All right, the jury's out of the room. Gentleman that just set up the camera. Sir, are you familiar with Rule 119 of the Supreme Judicial Court? For you do not set up or break down equipment during the proceedings. You're not here to be a distraction to the jurors or to witnesses. There are very specific items in that rule that cameras to be removed until you have read the rule and initialed a copy of it and leave it with my clerk. Now, we now have 3 cameras in the back. The rule is very clear. 1 camera for broadcast, 1 camera for other media. I understand that there is some type of technical difficulty in getting a feed off of the BBC camera. All well and good. I am certainly willing to allow a British camera and an American camera, and the other media. What you can't do is come into the middle of the proceedings while they're going on, start setting up your equipment like you own the place. The fellow from BBC is obviously telling you by hand motion that he's been using that entire space as he needs and as he's been allowed to. Now, the 3 cameramen in that back row are going to sort out who's where and what space is allowed. You're going to read Rule 119, initial a copy, give it to my clerk. If you can get that done and set up by the time I come back out, that's terrific. If you can't, then you wait until we break the next time. 5 minutes.
Jurors entering, all rise, please. Court is now in session. Please be seated.
Detective Diane Branch, please.
Oh, right up there, be swell.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury and the issues now pending between the Commonwealth and the defendant and the bar shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Ma'am, in a nice loud voice, could you state your name and could you spell your last name?
Diane Branch, Branch.
And where are you employed and how?
I'm a Chesapeake homicide detective in the state of Virginia.
Now, drawing your attention, ma'am, to the date of February 5th of 2015, did you receive a call or an assignment that relates to something that had happened in Cape Cod, Massachusetts?
Yes, sir, I did.
And as a result of that, did you go someplace?
Yes, sir, I did.
Where did you go?
I responded to 839 Shoal Creek Trail in the city of Chesapeake.
And had you obtained something prior to going there?
I originally went to get a description of the residence, and I left it in the custody of a uniformed patrol officer so no one could enter. Then I returned to the magistrate's office, obtained a search warrant for that location, and then returned with the search warrant along with our local jurisdiction bomb squad.
Now, did you have any information as to who it is that resided at that residence?
Yes, sir. The residence was being rented by an Adrian Loya.
And could you describe what you did once you got to that location? the second time with the search warrant?
Based on the information I had, luckily, I guess everything aligned that day because the local bomb squad was practicing in an area not far from my location. So within an hour and a half to 2 hours, we were able to get an entire regional bomb squad to the area. It was, once I met with them, the decision was made, the point of entry that would be made into the residence for the search warrant, and the decision was made that we would enter from a window on the side of the residence.
And if you'd be kind enough just to look at the photos that are depicted on this board, and first, do you recognize them?
Yes, sir.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of what's contained in them?
Yes.
You know, I offer this?
No objection.
X number exhibit.
Number 70?
And if I could set up the tripod,
Please.
Roger, whatever. Give me 1 second.
Yes, sir.
If the first juror could just ask if he can see them.
You can see it, sure.
So ma'am, the photograph under, that's labeled A on that, do you recognize that?
Yes, that is the residence I secured the search warrant for.
And what about B?
B is where entry was made. The side window was broken, and we entered through there.
And what were observations did you make once that took place?
Once the initial team went in and cleared for us, at one point they had to back out, and we had to send the robot in. After waiting for that, then I did a walkthrough with the original entry team because they had to tell me anything that had been moved. I was on the exterior due to the fact that we had information there might be some devices in there.
And when you went in, how did you get in?
I went in through this patio door.
All right. And what did you observe when you first walked into that residence?
Originally, when walking in, we had stopped and done a brief analysis of trash cans that were out on the outside right next to this door. When we went in, there's a large living room set, things like that. I could see a kitchen straight ahead. I could see some type of film over top of the, it's linoleum that's in there. It was just kind of a shiny substance. And I could see a life-size cutout that was laying on the ground.
All right. Just let's step back to what you had observed in the trash. Tell us about that.
Several items were found. There's a large trash can. I don't see the picture up here, but right here is where the large trash can is. On the outside of that, we had noticed that several of the boxes had kept it from being closed all the way. Once I pulled that back, all of these items, these are empty ammunition bags.
And then you're referring to F, is that right?
I'm sorry, yes, sir, F. All of these boxes of ammunition are empty. There are also distraction devices. Some were still in the bag, part of an unopened bag, were also in there.
And that's photograph E.
Yes, that's photograph E.
And when you indicated that there was some sort of a film or something, where was that? On what?
The film is on a, there's carpet in the house, and then you go to like a linoleum. When I entered, I could only see it in the kitchen, but it was also in the dining room area.
Okay. In that, the linoleum on the floor?
Yes.
All right. Were you able to determine what that was at any point?
Yes, we had already contacted our hazmat team to come in once the original entry team saw that, and it was determined that it was gun oil.
And I see in picture C that there's a stairway there that's carpeted. Does that demonstrate something from the result of that?
Yes, if you'll see right here by this linoleum, this is linoleum to the front door. If you were to come in the front door, you will see the linoleum, and then this is going up. The marks on this are from the linoleum that came up where we had to send the robot upstairs. The rest of it has come from us trying to walk through it when we went up there because it sticks to you. It's very slippery, very slick.
So it's slippery and it would stick as well, is that fair to say? Not something that would commonly be found on the floor.
I haven't ever seen it before, no, sir.
And if you just look at this please for a second, do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, sir, I do.
A fair and accurate depiction of how those things looked on the 5th of February 2015.
Yes, sir, they are.
And I would offer this.
No objection.
Next number exhibit.
71.
Now, you had indicated that there was something on the floor. Do you see that depicted in any of those photos?
Yes, in photo A.
And is that how that looked when you walked in?
When I arrived in, yes, it was on the ground.
Okay. What's the next thing that happened?
As we were going through, the next decision was made to go up the stairs. They were showing me everything else. As we go up the stairs, it's a very slim stairway, as you can see in the earlier one, so there's a handrail. As you go to grab the handrail, that's also been covered with gun oil, so the first thing you do is you start to fall down the handrail. We went up to the first room. The first bedroom, when you come in, was Princess Leia.
And that's photograph B.
I don't know all of my Star Wars characters or whatever, so please bear with me. Who, I don't know if you can tell, but she is pointing a gun. So the original entry team came in, it was standing up. The first thing you see is something pointing a gun at you.
What happened?
At the top of the stairs, these had been moved out of the way, but originally when you came up the top of the stairs, you have Han Solo, if I say that correctly, also pointing a gun at you, and then when you came around the corner, there was another full-size Batman.
Then what happened?
As
Photograph C. Go on.
Yes, photograph C. The original problem we had getting into the master bedroom is the master bedroom has two doors that come together. Originally, when the first team went in, once the plane of the doors would break, there was a tick, tick, tick. These are obviously sounds you don't want to have when you have the bomb squad in there, so everybody retreated. There was a waiting time. The robot was sent back in. The team came back in. They were able to establish that it was just a device that was set up there so it would make that sound. It was not any type of explosive device. When you eventually enter this room, the first thing you see, I believe this is Darth Vader, and I think these are stormtroopers. They both have, Darth Vader only has his wand down, but the stormtrooper has a weapon pointed at you. Off to the left is the master bath, and in that, I don't know what this thing is called, but it points a weapon at you, and it's also some type of character.
And that's in photograph D.
Yes, sir.
And the one you had mentioned with Darth Vader and the stormtroopers F.
F, yes, sir.
And is E actually a close-up of that? The other one you can't...
Right, is a close-up of D, yes, sir.
What's the next thing that happened?
At that time, we were still going through with the original entry team, and they were showing us what they had done. It's very hard to see, but in the corner here, one of the last things to be checked was the attic. And the attic has a pull-down, so we have two part of our entry team that are going to do that. The minute they pulled that down, there is it doesn't look very big here, but it's a ginormous spider, plastic spider, that they have put on bungee cords. So when it comes down, it falls in your face and goes back up.
And again, that's in photograph C that you've mentioned.
It's hard to see, but it is in photograph C, and when I got there, the actual attic part had been closed, but the spider was still hanging down.
It is depicted in this photo. You can just see it there. It's a
just
little
hard to
dark,
see.
though, right?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us some of the observations that were made within these rooms, in any order that you did it?
As far as what I recovered, what I saw.
What you observed in the rooms and such.
When I first walked through with the entry team, because only part of what we could see was on camera, and I was off to the side, obviously I have no explosive training, so I was not entering. Anything that they move, they're required to tell me because I am executing the search warrant. So one of the first observations made is that on the outside where we had originally collected all of these items in E and F, there was a large gun bag, like for an M4. That had been removed by one of the bomb techs because he couldn't tell if there was it was propped up. He did not know if there was a weapon in it. His job is to make sure we're safe. So that had been pulled out.
Okay, just for a second. You mentioned an M4. For those of us that aren't familiar with guns, what's an M4?
I'm sorry, it's a large rifle. And it requires, the bag is a bag that can carry, it may be also able to carry a shotgun, but it's usually used for an M4 because an M4 has larger magazines and there's storage in this gun bag.
And that was outside, correct?
That was outside. It had been removed from the trash can because it was sticking out when the original team went in. We also did the changes that were made as the window was broken because the idea is to gain entry into the residence not the normal way, because if there was any type of device or anything that may hurt us as we enter, we obviously want to find another avenue. So the window was broken, and that's why we chose that way.
Now, just before we get in the house, and you may have already said this, if you did, I apologize, but with respect to photograph F, was there any live ammunition in those boxes?
I have to go back and check my search warrant log, just a second. No, I believe all of mine indicate that they were empty, sir.
You can kind of look at what's in this bag. And if you want, Rose, we have them right here. You don't need them if you want these. But, sorry.
We're good.
Oops.
Thank you.
That's also possible. Do you recognize what's in here?
Yes,
And what is that?
those are the empty boxes of ammunition.
And those are in the trash outside, is that right?
Yes, sir.
I'd offer this.
No objection.
Next number, exhibit, please.
72.
And do you recognize what these are?
Yes, sir, those are the distraction devices.
And was that 72?
Yes, it was, 72.
In 72, it's reflected in photograph F, right? No, this is 72. That's 72,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And if we could get this mark, please, on that offer this.
Offered.
No objection.
Next number, exhibit, please.
Number 73.
And these 73 are depicted in photograph E, correct?
Yes, sir.
And both of those, 72 and 73, were outside near the trash.
Yes.
What's the next thing?
On the outside? Because actually, we checked the house and then we came back out and went through the
So
trash.
then you went inside, what's the next thing?
Once entering inside, we noticed this is the room that you enter in. It's a large wraparound couch, and there's also a huge gaming system and TV and things like that. Anything that would have a SIM card possibility for information, we collected from that. After collecting from that, that's when we began going up the stairs.
Can you tell us what happened when you went up the stairs?
After going up the stairs into the first bedroom, noticed that there was a large desk with a computer monitor, but the main part of it, the mainframe, had been removed. You could tell where the wires were, and there was one piece of paper sitting on the desk, and it was with the name of Adrian Loya on it, and it looked like it was administrative remarks in reference to, it was from the Department of Homeland Security, in reference to something to do with misconduct and harassment.
Does that reflected in photograph G on that board?
Yes, it is.
If you can kind enough to look at. This be a copy of that.
Yes, it is.
You know, I'd offer this as an exhibit.
Offered.
No objection.
Next number.
Number 74.
Yep.
And what's the next thing that happened?
In that same bedroom with the desk and where the letter from G was collected, we noticed off to the side on the floor by the closet in that same room, were targets that were marked and had been fired on.
And that's reflected in photograph E, correct?
Photograph H, yes, sir.
Do you recognize what this is?
Yes, sir. That's the purple one that was on the floor.
You're not offer this?
The purple target that was on the floor.
I'd offer this.
No objection.
Next number, exhibit.
75.
And this item was in the position in which is reflected in H when you saw it, correct?
Yes.
I'd ask if you come up to look at this item. Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
And is that the item that's depicted in H?
Yes, sir.
I'd offer this, Your Honor.
No objection.
Next number exhibit, please.
Number 76.
Now, this item had some writing on it, did it not?
Yes, sir.
And if your training experience, did the writing have any significance to you?
Basically, it's at the rate that you're shooting. Red dot slow, this is what you're aiming for. Double tap, 2 shots at once. Rapid fire would indicate that there was some type of rifle, semi-automatic weapon.
And what about the 50 yards there?
50 yards is the amount of distance that you have from the time where you're shooting from.
2.22?
Should be 22.
And what about the
5.56 is a M4 caliber rifle.
What about HOLO or HALO? What is that, solo?
You got me on that one?
Okay. What's the next thing that you did?
That time we went in and checked the bedroom, the master bedroom, at that point where we saw all the indications of the cutouts, the 3 different cutouts there. At that point, we went back to where the trash can was, and that's when we started going through the trash can to recover all the rest of the items that we found.
And what did you recover, if anything?
We recovered the tan rifle case, which was for what we believe to be an M4. We also took the Xbox console. There was one console that was set up in the living room, and there was another console that was put away in a upstairs bedroom. 3 additional rifle magazines found in the closet. Out in there was one extra, just like a small, you could tell we're here. He's closed this room in. In that room, off to the right, we found the large bottle of gun oil, clear gun oil, which smelled, it has a distinct odor to it, smells like what was on the floor, and there was a small amount left. 3 rifle magazines were found in the upstairs closet. The Xbox was recovered in a USB. I also recovered in the trash can, in the kitchen trash can, directions to the Quality Inn in Massachusetts.
Okay, if you could be kind enough to look at this item, you recognize what this is?
Yes,
What is this?
that is the map, the Google map I found inside the trash can in the kitchen.
Offer this, Jeff?
No objection.
Next number exhibit, please.
Number 77.
And what else, if anything?
This was a part of a camera remote that goes to a GoPro. The GoPro was not there, but the remote was recovered. There was a CD that was marked FinCEN, which was supposedly some type of acronym for the Coast Guard. Since I had a Coast Guard officer there with me, or excuse me, special agent, we recovered that in case there was any information. Gun cleaning kit. We've already gone over the distraction devices. There were also 6 CO2 canisters that were in there. And then the variety of we had the long range, the 22 long range ammunition, the empty ammo box, the empty ammo box of the 5.56 ammo, 2 empty boxes of 9mm. We also recovered hard drives, SIM cards. We also found 2 additional 5.56 ammo boxes that were empty. We also had another camera attachment, which was an MUVI. I don't know what that stands for. We also found 1 gun box with empty for a 9mm handgun.
Just, what do you mean by gun box?
It was a carrying box, like it had been purchased, what you buy it and carry it in.
In other words, the gun itself would fit in there, not ammunition, or,
Right.
although ammunition could, but it wouldn't be just ammunition.
Right,
Okay.
it's for the gun, the weapon itself.
Yep.
And the weapon was not there. We found one 12-gauge round that was just like it had been dropped, and one black computer hard drive.
You had mentioned some cartridges, I shouldn't say empty boxes. Was this one of the ones that was found?
Yes,
And that was for what?
22.
In this item?
That is also, it's for duty ammo. It says for law enforcement officer only.
In these items?
Those are all of the empty boxes of ammo also.
Yeah, I think if we could just make this
You're offering it as a consolidated exhibit?
with the first empty boxes that I've offered, so just make this, all the empty boxes would be the same number.
No objection.
All right. Go back to the last empty box there that was put in. And these items, that becomes whatever number that is, A,
72.
72,
A,
and B, C, D.
And this could be kept in the boxes, multiple
Yep.
empty boxes.
Certainly can.
What time would you estimate you arrived at that location when you had the search warrant?
My original one was there at 10 o'clock. I secured the search warrant at 12:19.
And what time did you finish up when you were there?
What time did I leave and
Yes.
clear the scene? Oh, it was late. It was, excuse me. It's close to midnight, but let me give you the exact time. Can I sit these down, Your Honor?
Surely.
An approximation's fine. Is your recollection it was around midnight?
Yes, sir.
That's fine, thank you. That's all I have.
I'm sorry, it was midnight's when I got off. We secured the residence and left the scene at 8:30 PM.
8:30 PM.
Yes, sir.
Cross-examination if you wish.
Your Honor. Ma'am, when you were first contacted by members of law enforcement, that was a Trooper Donovan.
Yes, sir.
And fair to say, ma'am, he gave you a brief rundown of what they had at the time,
Yes, sir.
the information, and you included that, ma'am, into your police report? Is that fair and accurate, look like what you prepared?
Yes,
That would have been my suspicion.
yes, sir.
Did you get any information from anybody else other than Trooper Donovan? If you recall.
Only to establish that it was the address of Mr. Loya, but no one else from Massachusetts.
But he gave you some particular information about the case. Fair?
Yes,
And what they alleged Mr. Lawyer had done. Is that fair?
yes,
And was it Trooper Donovan who indicated to you that Lawyer had a history of sexual harassment towards Trubnikova and was transferred to Chesapeake? Would those have been Donovan's words?
everything in that top part is what I wrote down from when he called me, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, somebody in your staff and/or you, ma'am, took those photographs, what we've talked about, pursuant to Exhibit 70. Is that fair?
Yes,
And you talked about some of the items, like the life-size cutout figurines and so on, right?
yes, sir.
And you also mentioned in that home, there was a big couch, right?
Yes,
And I assume up in the bedroom, there was a bed,
yes,
right?
sir.
Customary, though, to pursue your training experience, there wasn't other furniture that'd be customary for a home, right?
There was no dining room.
Yeah, no dining room or other furniture other than that gaming couch, is that fair?
It takes up the whole living room, so yeah.
Okay, but there are no other ottomans and so on and so forth, right?
No,
And, ma'am, I direct your attention, if you would, I gotta get close to, I can't see too well.
you're good.
But B, please, ma'am, what appears to be a bookcase behind the couch. You see that?
This one.
Yes.
Yes.
Some type of items
Sorry.
on top of that. Do you know what those are?
These are, once again, I'm not a Trekkie, so they're like the Enterprise and Star Trek. They're little, whatever their flying machines were, yeah. I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm not a Trekkie.
Now, you've identified something to do with Star Trek. Were there other such items in and around the house figurines, what have
Oh,
you?
yes.
Not the cutouts.
Yes, yes.
Please tell us about that.
There were some, in the master bedroom, there were some very, very nice, expensive collector items, different types of Star Wars, Star Trek, things like that.
Other than, I think you said flying apparatus.
Right.
Other types of figurines and so forth?
Yeah.
Like what? Can you help us with that?
Like I said, most of them were distinct because I was quite impressed with, the bedroom upstairs is very, looks relatively new, and the case that all of these things were in, these were all in protected glass cases, so I'm sure they were worth some money. So the figurines were like this big. I mean, they looked to be valuable to me.
Well, 2, 3, 20, 30, can you help us?
10, maybe?
Okay. And I'll direct your attention now back to D, please, ma'am. I first asked you about the figurines of the flying apparatus underneath. Again, the bookcase, what did that mean?
What's in the bookcase?
Yes.
These are all DVDs and CDs, DVDs of movies and games.
Okay, that's where I'm going at.
Yes,
So you
movies, games.
Looked at them, and I don't need the list of them, all
Right.
games, right?
Right.
And you indicated hooked up in front of that couch was a what you call an Xbox? Fair to say some type of gaming?
The gaming system with a 60-inch TV.
Okay, that was immediately in front of the couch?
Yes, it's, the whole couch surrounds that, and then there are blacked out curtains.
Were they down at the time?
They were closed, yes.
Okay. And you indicated another Xbox toy game machine upstairs?
360 was upstairs, yes, in the box.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you, Detective.
Anything further?
Yeah, just brief. Depicted in photograph H. Could you tell us what this is right here?
It's another gaming tool that they used for, you can interact. I'm not real sure what the position of it was.
Was it like a replica sword?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I
Nothing
have.
as a result of that, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You may step aside. Thank
you,
you.
Can we this way, please, excuse?
Yes.
Thank you. Heller. Heller.
Stand right here.
Sir, just please raise your right hand. Solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury and the issues now pending between the Commonwealth and the defendant as the bar shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Sir, in a nice loud voice, could you state your name and could you spell your last name?
I'm Jacob Heller, Heller.
And where do you currently live?
Long Beach, California.
And drawing your attention back to when you were in high school and grade school, did you live in California then?
No, I lived in Texas.
Okay, whereabouts in Texas?
El Paso, Texas.
And did you know an Adrian Loya?
Yes, I did.
Do you still know him?
Yes, I do.
Do you see him in court here today?
Yes, I do.
Where is he, please? Just where is he sitting and what's he wearing?
That's him right there.
May the record reflect he's identified the defendant, Your Honor.
So noted.
And how would you characterize, sir, your relationship with Mr. Loya?
Friendship
And when did that start?
in high school, I believe.
And what were the circumstances surrounding your, in high school, relationship to Mr. Loya?
I believe we were in the same Spanish class, and we both disliked the class and thought it was boring, and we sat near each other and developed a friendship based on that.
And what common interest did you share with Mr. Loya, if any?
Video games, to be honest, I don't really remember a lot of my interest in high school.
Fair enough, fair enough. But one of them was you enjoyed video games, and so did he, fair to say?
Yes,
And would you play video games together?
yes.
And are we talking about maybe an hour a day, or would it be something a little more intense than that?
I mean, obviously we hung out a lot, so it could be anything from, hanging out after school for an hour or more, or maybe sleepovers or things like that.
And I apologize, I may not be that, familiar with the different kinds of games and stuff, but what kind of video games did you two enjoy?
Like console games and PC games, mostly cooperative.
Okay, explain what all that means, please.
Games played on a personal computer. Cooperative games usually involve working as a team to overcome some obstacle or objective, maybe winning a race or killing a monster.
In about what years would this have been, do you know?
That's a tough one.
Okay, well, the only reason I'm asking would be, was the internet available for you to play against other people that weren't where you were?
I believe it was.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And again, with video games, aren't there things like first-person shooters versus like other types? What types of games did you enjoy with Mr. Loya?
Can we just get a place and time for this? Still in high school?
Yeah, but back when he was in high school. So you go ahead and answer.
Yeah. Yeah, there are all types of games we played. Everything from Mario Kart, which is like a racing game, to maybe Call of Duty games, which you play a soldier and you complete mission objectives, to things like League of Legends, which is a cooperative team fighting game, I guess, adventure fighting.
And were there any other interests that you shared with Mr. Loya back in high school?
We were on the swim team together. We hung out a lot, just in general.
And would you watch movies, for instance?
Yeah.
What types?
The popular movies of the day, I suppose.
All right. Well, was there a specific focus on science fiction as opposed to romance?
Perhaps that's fair to say.
All right. And were there any, with respect to Mr. Loya, were there any specific franchises? And do you know what I mean by that for a movie?
Yeah, like a movie franchise, yes.
Right, like a Star Wars, Star Trek, something like that?
Yeah.
That he particularly liked?
I believe he really liked Star Trek, but we watched all sorts of...
Now, Star Trek, there were movies and there were TV shows. Did the interest expand, also include the TV shows as well?
To be honest, I don't know.
Fair enough. So you didn't share that with him watching the TV shows?
I did, but not Star Trek in particular.
Okay. What ones would you watch? What TV shows would you watch with him?
I can't remember.
Okay. Was there a genre, though, or would they be just any kind of shows? Or would it be the science fiction?
Yeah, popular shows. Probably science fiction or adventure genre.
Okay. Now, were you in the same class in high school? I don't mean like Spanish class. I mean graduated the same year class.
I believe we were.
All right. Did you graduate from high school?
I did.
And did he?
He did.
What did you do after graduating from high school?
I applied for the JET program.
What's that?
It's a program where you work for the Japanese government teaching English in Japan.
And did you get accepted to that?
I did.
All right. Did you go there?
Well, I'm sorry, I went to college first.
Right.
And then I went into the JET program.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Now, during the 4 years that you were in college, were you keeping friendship with Mr. Loya?
Yeah, as best I could,
How you would do that?
via Skype or text messaging or email.
All right. And would you continue to play games?
Yes.
And would you be able to play with him even though you weren't in the same area?
Yes, that's right.
All right. And what games were you playing then, if you remember?
Probably the same types of games.
Okay, fair enough. What part of the state or the country, when you went to college, did you go to?
I lived in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Do you know where he was while you were in college?
Maybe basic training
For what branch?
for the Coast Guard.
For the Coast Guard. And had you had any discussions with him about his joining the Coast Guard?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, do you remember basically why he said he wanted to join the Coast Guard?
Not really. I think he joined because he had no other specific interests or plans.
Fair enough. And at some point, did you learn that he had chosen a specific area within the Coast Guard to focus on?
You mean like a job?
Yes.
Wise? I can't remember.
All right. Did you become aware at some point that he was involved in the IT services?
Yes, that's right.
And did you ever have any discussions with him as to why he chose to go into the IT?
Not really, but I believe he joined that branch because he wanted to be challenged,
Okay.
and it was interesting.
Now, and this was while you were still in college, correct?
Yes.
All right. So at some point, you joined, was it the JET program, JET?
Yes.
And did you go to Japan?
Yes, I did.
Did you keep in touch with Mr. Loya during that time?
Yeah.
Do you know where he was stationed during that time?
During JET?
Yes.
To be honest, I don't know.
Fair enough. Was there a point where you were in Japan and you knew that he was in Alaska?
I don't know if that was when I was. To be honest, I don't know.
Fair enough. Was there a point where you were in Japan and you knew that he was in Alaska?
I don't know if that was when I was in Japan, but there was a point where I knew he was in Alaska. Yes.
And how often would you two correspond to each other during this period of time?
Infrequently.
Okay.
Maybe once every 2 months.
All right. And how would the circumstances surrounding that be? Would you text him and he'd text right back?
Usually we would log on to an online game of some kind, and we would start a game, and then we would just talk while we were playing.
Okay. And is that something that you could do because there was a message screen or something while you're playing?
I think mainly we spoke via Skype.
So would you be playing the game on one computer while you were Skyping on another one, or just explain how that would work? I don't understand.
The game might be full screen on the computer, but in the background there would be the Skype application running, providing voice chat, which was a separate from the game entirely, but a separate program.
So I see. So you could actually be playing the game and speaking to whoever's on the other side of the Skype, right?
That's right.
And that's what you would do with Mr. Loya, correct?
That's right.
Now, up until the point, would that have been when you were in Japan or after you came back, or both?
I want to say both, but it's hard for me to say that with.
Fair enough. Now, did you ever have any conversations with Mr. Loya concerning a Lisa?
Yes, I did.
When did they start?
At some point during his time in Alaska.
All right. Do you remember if that was after you were back from Japan or while you were still in Japan?
I do not.
Fair enough. And up till that point, just basically how long had you known Mr. Loya? Right before the conversations about Lisa began.
I want to say since high school. I don't know how many years it was.
Fair enough. You said you first met him in a Spanish class, right? You have to say yes or no.
Oh, yes, yes.
Thank you. And do you remember what year you were in school for that Spanish class? Was it freshman year or was it senior year?
I believe it was freshman year,
Okay, so it was basically the full 4 years of high school that you knew him, right?
as far as I.
You were on
yeah.
the swim team together. Was that freshman year or sophomore, or do you know?
It was freshman or sophomore year, I think.
And being on the swim team, how many other individuals were on the swim team? About, doesn't have to be exact.
Maybe 10 to 12 people,
All right, and were they all men or were they men and women?
men and women.
All right, and were there coaches on that, for those teams?
Yes,
And would you have meets with other teams?
that's right.
And obviously, you would be going up against the kids from the other team, right?
Yes,
And after the swim meets, would there be any social gatherings?
occasionally.
All right. And would there be buses to and from these meets?
I think so.
Okay, you didn't drive your own car to get to the meets, did you?
I don't remember.
Okay. And during that period of time that we're talking about, up until the point where he started talking about Lisa, were there any concerns that you had concerning his mental health?
I don't remember.
You certainly didn't tell anybody about them, did you?
That sounds correct, yes.
And now, when he starts talking about Lisa, okay, focusing in on that time,
Okay.
tell us what he was telling you about Lisa.
He told me that he met someone who was either on his same base or in his unit or who worked close to him, and that he found kind of a kindred spirit and they had a lot in common.
Okay, now, You may have said this. If you did, I apologize, but this was when he was in Alaska?
As far as I understand it, yes.
Okay. And did those conversations that you had with him, as intermittent as they may have been, if they involved Lisa, did that tone change at any point?
Did the tone change?
Yeah, you just described he's saying, I met somebody, kindred spirits. Did they remain that way, or did they change, or just stayed the same?
It's hard for me to say.
Okay. Were you concerned at any point about this, Lisa?
I was, yes.
In what way?
I guess as time went on, he was more and more interested in befriending her, befriending her wife. At some point, the conversations we had, I was under the impression that, they were going to get married. Yeah.
Just so we can clear that all up. So when you said they were going to get married, you don't mean Mr. Loya and
No.
Lisa, right?
I'm talking about Lisa and her wife.
Right. So when you were talking with Mr. Loya, he was at some point informed you that she was in a same-sex marriage or a same-sex relationship leading to marriage, right?
That's right.
And what was his communications to you about that?
That he thought it was maybe his first time seeing that.
Okay. Well, was he saying that he was in favor of it?
It's his witness.
Yeah. You can't lead your witness.
That's fine. Tell us what he told you.
I'm sorry.
Tell us what he told you about the same-sex marriage between Lisa and Anna.
I don't remember any specific comments.
Is there anything that caused you concern?
I believe that the tone of his conversations was concerning because he would bring up the fact that she was in a relationship, but he seemed very strongly interested in getting closer and closer to her, to Lisa.
And do you remember how soon it was during these conversations that he had mentioned that she was in a same-sex relationship?
I do not.
Okay, fair enough. Did you have further conversations in which Lisa was mentioned?
She was the focus of many conversations.
Tell us about those, please.
He would describe the working environment, working alongside of her. He would describe trying to befriend her wife or meeting her on the base in various situations.
And how would he describe those, as good or bad experiences, if at all?
He seemed to see them as good experiences.
Did that continue throughout the entire time that you had conversations involving Lisa?
No.
When did it change, if it did?
I believe it changed when there was an incident at her apartment, and I don't know exactly what happened, but he described that he was, for some reason, he was at her apartment at night, and they were drinking and watching a television show together. He said that she maybe made some sort of advance towards him, and he refused somehow and left. But he expressed great concern because he believed, at least he expressed to me, that he believed that that event could somehow jeopardize his place in the Coast Guard or his pay or his job or something like that.
Okay, is that the extent of what he said about that incident to you, what you just told the jury?
As far as I can recall, yes.
Fair enough. Now, did you become aware at some point he was being transferred from Alaska to someplace else?
I was aware of that, yes.
Tell us about that.
To be honest, I don't remember a lot of details. I just know that he told me at some point that he was going to have to pick a new place to go or submit choices. And then that he did that. Yes.
Do you know where he went?
I do not.
Okay. So you never visit him at that point, did you?
No, I did not.
And were there any further communications involving Lisa?
After he left Alaska, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Now, at some point, you had gone cross-country with Mr. Loya, is that right?
That's right.
Do you know about when that was?
I believe that was before his tenure in Alaska.
Okay, so he would have been in the Coast Guard at that time?
Yes.
And where were you in your situation?
I don't really remember.
Okay. Do you remember if it was before or after Japan?
It's a long time ago. I could not tell you.
Fair enough. If it doesn't help, that's okay. Where did you start from when you were going cross-country? From what part in the country?
Virginia?
Okay. And why Virginia?
I believe that's where he was stationed at the time, before he moved.
All right. So this would have been before Alaska, though, you said that, right?
That's right.
Okay. So were you in D.C. then?
I don't know.
Okay. So anyhow, how were you going to be traveling across the country?
We were driving.
In whose car?
I believe it was Adrian's car.
All right. And do you remember what kind of car that was?
I do not.
Fair enough. So you started in Virginia, and did you start to go west?
That's right.
And did you stop anywhere, a note to Mr. Loya that you knew on the way out to, where were you going?
We were going to Seattle.
Okay, to Seattle. Do you remember if you stopped anywhere?
Yeah, we stopped at a couple of places. We stopped at national parks. We went hiking. I believe we saw his sister in Utah.
Okay, we'll stop right there for a second.
Yes.
And what would you describe his relationship with his sister that you observed to be?
Not distant, but not close.
Okay. During that time, you had been friends with Mr. Loya up to the point you went to visit his sister. How would you describe his relationship with his sister, with that specific sister, if you can?
To be honest, I don't know too much about their relationship.
Fair enough. Did you stop anywhere else with respect to relatives of Mr. Loya's?
We may have visited his father in Texas, but I don't remember.
Fair enough. Anybody else?
As far as I know, no.
Okay. Do you remember stopping to see his mother?
Oh, yes, we did.
Okay. And where was she?
I believe that was New Mexico.
All right. And describe your observations of the interactions between Mr. Loya and his mother in New Mexico.
Not close, but not distant.
Okay. Then where did you go?
I believe we continued on to Seattle.
While you're in New Mexico, did you meet anybody else?
I don't remember.
Okay. Was there a trip to Mexico? Not New Mexico, Mexico, the country of Mexico.
No, there was not.
Fair enough. So then you went to Seattle, is that right?
That's right.
Did you part ways in Seattle?
That's right.
And how long a period of time was that trip?
A few weeks.
And during that period of time, Mr. Loya was constantly in your presence, right?
That's right.
Other than today, when was the last time that you saw Mr. Loya?
I visited him in Bridgewater.
When, though?
Last year.
Last year. Okay.
Yeah.
And before that, when was the last time?
The last time I saw him?
Yes, not corresponded, but saw him.
I could not tell you with certainty.
Fair enough. Fair. It's fair to say that most of your interactions would have been, other than that cross-country, after you guys graduated from high school, via the internet or while you're gaming or something, right?
That's correct.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Cross-examination if you wish. All right. Jurors, let's take a morning recess.
Head out.
Well, bring you back in a bit.
Jurors, all rise, please.
Jury's out of the room. Mr. Heller, you're welcome to step aside as well. Please be available after the recess, though.
Yes, sir.
Joe? Anything at this time, counsel?
Not from the defense.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Morning recess.
Your guy.
Fine.
And if we could have the jurors and our witness, please.
Please be seated.
So when you're ready, please.
Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Heller.
Good morning.
Mr. Glenny began speaking with you, sir, and asked you about first meeting Adrian, and I believe you suggested that was high school.
Yes.
How old are you now?
I'm 32 years old.
Okay, so we're going back now some 15, 17 years, is that fair?
That's fair to say.
Probably 14 or 15 as a freshman when you first met Adrian,
Yes.
and your only class together was Spanish.
As far as I remember.
Okay, and neither of you liked it.
That's correct.
But you somewhat maintained that relationship through your high school years,
That's right.
and when I say friendship, you'd see each other in the hall and/or in at least this one Spanish class you took. You didn't take that for 4 years, correct?
That's right.
And on occasion, would you meet or talk outside of school?
Often.
I mean, well, when you say often, we weren't text messaging back then, right?
That's right.
So it'd be an occasional call, is that it?
We would hang out in person.
Okay. And this is again when you're some 15 years old, true?
That's right.
But you also, even back then, sir, characterized your relationship or characterized the two of you as very private people, right?
That's fair to say.
To help us with that, I mean, describe that to us. That's a conclusion.
We both had, I would say, limited pools of friends. We spent a lot of time together. We discussed things together.
It was just you and he, right?
That's correct.
Because you use the expression, it's just different than I would use, limited pool of friends. That was your word, right?
Yes.
And it was just really the two of you. Is that fair?
Well, I mean, I believe we both had friends outside of this one friendship.
Oh, well, you knew other people, right?
That's right.
I mean, and the other thing you shared together was this this swimming. You both swam. Mm-hmm. Being somewhat lanky probably helped you in that regard, right?
Yes.
And again, somewhat of a solitary sport. I mean, it's an individual sport, right?
Yes, that's right.
And did you do that, or did he do that for 4 years?
Not as far as I know.
Okay, how many years? How many years with you, sir?
I think I was only on the swim team for 1 year.
Okay, and had he made the team that year?
I think we were all just part of the team. I don't know if there was making a team.
Okay, we were all just part of the team that one year.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember what
Yes.
year of year 4 that was by chance?
The numerical year,
Freshman, sophomore?
I believe that was freshman year.
Okay. So when Mr. Glenny asked you about things like team meets and team get-togethers and all that, we're just talking about one season of freshman year, true?
That's fair to say.
Okay. And so there weren't any big parties or anything, right?
Not that I remember, no.
And neither of you, if you know, well, you didn't swim after that freshman year, and neither did Mr. Loya.
I'm sorry, is that a question or?
Yes.
Oh, as far as I know, yes.
Outside of the school in the 1 year of swimming, though, did you two start, on occasion, you'd be play these video games?
Yes.
And, I mean, we're, again, 15, so what year would that be?
Throughout high school,
No, what year was your freshman year as best you can?
the numerical year,
Yes.
I could not tell you.
Okay. I think you were asked about the internet.
Yes.
Was it up and running by then, sir?
I don't remember the exact year that I got internet, but I feel like in high school I had some way of accessing it, yes.
Because you do recall you were playing video games and so forth, and this was a particular like that the two of you enjoyed, right?
That's right.
Mr. Glenny asked you about such things. What did you two enjoy? And you said such things as, I believe it was killing monsters or something, right?
Well, there was a wide variety of games we played.
Well, competitive games, kill monsters, wide variety of video games, true?
That's right.
And the two of you would do that while you were apart and together at times, is that fair?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Now, there weren't any other sports that you two were involved in, right?
Other sports, no.
Again, the both of you were somewhat solitary, is that fair?
Oh, that's fair to say.
I mean, at times you even heard people refer to him kind of a geek, right?
A geek?
Maybe a nerd,
Okay, maybe a nerd.
is that fair?
That's probably fair to say, yes.
Did the two of you ever go to a high school party?
High school party. Not that I can recall, no.
Okay. I mean, and don't take offense. This guy, at least in high school, is not the life of the party, right?
Yeah, I guess that's fair to say.
And he does nothing else other than a year of swimming and attends school. Fair?
That sounds correct, yes.
No other clubs or interests in school? For instance, math, chess, any of that, if you recall.
I don't recall anything specific.
Now, again, and I can understand from after high school on, there was a parting of the ways, meaning you went to college in D.C., right?
That's right.
He, as best you know, he stayed in and around Texas, right?
I could not say with certainty.
Okay. Well, would a refresh your memory, if he ever took a stab at a community college or?
That does sound like something he tried, yes.
And perhaps, and now I'm moving in after high school, you're in college, so did you go 4 years at DC?
I did not know.
How many years you were there?
At George Washington, I was there for 2 years.
Where'd you go from there?
Well, so my first school was the University of Texas at El Paso.
Okay,
And then I transferred to George Washington University. My third year of college, I went to Japan and I studied at Nanzan University in Japan. And then I returned to Washington, D.C.
just as a reference point, referencing those 4 years, it's fair to say it was very intermittent, your contact now with Adrian. Fair?
That's fair to say, yes.
I mean, obviously, you're in different parts of the country and/or world. Is this when, sir, you answered Mr. Glenny that Maybe you talk once every 2 months?
We may have spoken more frequently than that. It's very difficult for me to remember the exact frequency of our conversations.
Okay. Well, at some point, sir, Mr. Lenny asked you, you indicated there was a conversation about him or his interest in joining the military,
That's right.
and the Coast Guard particularly.
That's right.
Well, using as a point of reference your going to Japan, sir, what year was that?
It was the year after I graduated from college.
When did you graduate from college?
You have to understand, I live by a digital calendar, and it's very difficult for me to recall specific days or events.
Or years?
Or years even.
Okay, I'm just trying to get us around to, would it help you if I were to suggest Mr. Loya enlisted in around 2004 or 5?
That sounds right to me.
Okay, where is Mr. Heller in 2004 or 5, if you know?
I must have been in college.
Okay, but again, we seem to, or I adopted the word intermittent. Your communication with Adrian is stretched out. There'd be long stretches, in other words, without you speaking to Adrian, right?
That's right.
Okay. And at least at some point during these infrequent communications, though, you learn that he did enlist. True?
That's right.
And at least you came to understand that at some point he was in Virginia.
That's right.
Or stationed in Virginia, right?
Yes.
What, had you got out of college by that point?
I believe I had, because I believe I went to his apartment and stayed with him for a period of time between college and joining the JET program.
Okay, somewhere in Virginia?
Yes.
He was already a Coastie? Or a
Yes.
Coast Guard, right?
Yes.
And again, how long did you stay with him in his apartment?
A few weeks.
Okay. Didn't meet any other friends he had in and around there, did you?
No, we mostly hung out together.
It's just the two of you, right?
That's right.
And you had some time to catch up, right?
That's right.
Fair to say this fellow you've now known for 5 or 10 years, still that solitary loner, right?
Yes, that's how I would categorize him.
Now, you then went, or you learned, sir, that he was being sent pursuant to his enlistment up to Alaska, right?
That's right.
And you said you'd make the trek with him.
That's right.
Now, in doing so, we're going from Virginia, would be the east.
Yeah.
And you go to the Midwest, and you knew, both of you had roots to Texas, right?
Yes.
But likewise, before stopping to see his mom and dad, you knew their relationships were strained, were they not?
Yeah, they were.
I mean, they wouldn't talk much, right?
His dad would frequently call me to find out what Adrian was doing.
Okay. What would he say to you? Okay.
Well, I'll see it sidebar.
So we left off with your having some form of communication with Mr. Loya. Did you use the word George, is that his name?
George Loya, yes.
And your words, I don't want to put words in your mouth, you said something to the effect that he would go through me or something. What were your words, sir?
George would often call me to find out what Adrian was up to.
Okay. How did you come to that conclusion?
Because he would ask me if I had spoken to Adrian or if I had seen him or talked to him.
Okay. And now, is this period of time prior to our trek across the country, meaning your and Mr. Williams?
It's very difficult to say when his dad started interacting with me like that.
Okay, but there was a period of time. Were you, sir, determined that there was problem between son and dad and/or lack of communication. Is that fair?
I would just call it an estranged relationship. I did not really understand the dynamics of his father's relationship with him.
When you went across the country, you folks, you and Adrian spent some time together, at least stuck in the automobile. That's fair, right?
That's right.
And again, conversation kind of dead, mundane, right?
We talked about podcasts and video games and his plans for what he wanted to do in Alaska and the trip itself.
Well, you spoke to a police officer at some point, sir, didn't you?
That's right.
You indicated just mundane conversations, right?
During our trip,
Yeah, yes.
yes, I would say mundane conversations.
And one of the stops, you stopped at his mother's, did you not?
That's right.
And how, you kind of characterize relationship with dad. How would you characterize relationship with mom?
To be honest, before that, I had never met his mother, and I was not really clear on what the relationship was.
He had never brought it up to you or circumstances in life, other kids or any of that nature, sir?
He may have mentioned it once or twice.
And how long did you stay there in your trek across the country?
Maybe 1 or 2 days at most.
Well, in that 1 or 2 days, you saw them interact, did you not?
Yes.
And you drew a conclusion, sir, isn't it fair that the relationship was not a good one?
It seemed to me to be a distant relationship.
And he never talked about mom, right?
Not very often, no.
Mr. Glennie asked you about whether or not he shared his thoughts about joining the Coast Guard, right?
He did.
And did he speak to you about the structured setting of the Coast Guard?
Yes, he did.
And you knew he was interested in computers and the technical aspect of computers, right?
That's right.
Something you do alone, right?
That's fair to say.
Now, let me take it back. He hasn't arrived in Alaska because we're finishing up our cross-country trip.
Okay.
I talked about mom. Did you stop at dad's?
I don't recall. It's likely we did.
Did Adrian Loya have a dog?
He did.
Okay, what was the name of the dog?
I believe it was Tawny.
Okay, did the dog go to Alaska with you?
No, the dog did not.
Where'd the dog go?
The dog went to his father's house.
Okay. You remember leaving the dog with dad, or
I do not know.
you don't know what happened to the dog?
I don't remember leaving the dog with
Okay,
his
do you know what
father.
happened to the dog?
The after everything, the dog, as far as I understand it, lived with his father until Adrian came back from Alaska, and then I'm under the impression that he visited his father, and the dog was very old, and it was blind, and it was quote unquote on its last legs, and he put the dog down.
Who's he?
Adrian Loya.
How close was he to that dog?
Very, very close.
Okay. And other than the tenuous relationship or infrequent relationship you had, did he have anybody else but that dog?
Not that I'm aware of.
He had to put the dog down, right?
As far as I understand it, yes.
And he blamed his father for that, didn't he?
That's what he expressed to me.
When you say he expressed you, he told you that, right?
That's right.
And other than you being, that wasn't the start of you being the intermediary between the two of them, right?
I mean, after that point, I was definitely communicating with his dad, and that
Because there was no more communicating between he and dad, to your knowledge, right?
as I understand it, yes.
Now, in these infrequent communications with him, you said to Mr. Glenny that he mentioned something about this Lisa, right?
That's right.
And he told you about, well, did he first tell you about what it was like in the island of Kodiak, Alaska?
Yeah, he talked about what it was like.
And the temperature, it being light most of the time, things of that nature?
Yeah, he described the temperature, as you mentioned, and also the fact that it was light or dark for long periods of time.
Not an easy existence. Do you recall that?
I know his dad had concerns.
Well, again, getting to you, sir, he then told you about this other person, Lisa, right? And that she needs to hear it.
Yes.
How many times of these infrequent telephone calls did he mention her as best you can? I'm not holding it.
He mentioned her on most of his phone calls when we were speaking about Alaska.
Did he mention anybody else?
Not that I recall.
Mention any other hobbies?
I mean, he mentioned maybe hiking.
Okay. And, well, he eventually gets around in the conversation about her having been or in a relationship with another woman, right?
That's right.
But he didn't express any problems with you because she may have had an alternative lifestyle, did he?
He did not express any problems, no.
You didn't know him to be a guy like that, did you?
No, I did not.
But he did, at least at the beginning or at some point, indicate that she was his friend.
That's right.
But other than that, some issues did arise, right?
Yes.
Some of those issues he aired or spoke to you about, sir, it began to give you some concerns, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
I mean, you were asked, I think the quote was, to give you concerns about his mental health. Remember Mr. Grundy asked you that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, sir, in fact, it did give you some pretty significant concerns, didn't it?
There were times when I was concerned, yes.
Okay, well, when you say concerned, it rose to a level, sir, that you even told him, you better see somebody.
I told him that, yeah, he should speak to someone about what was going on.
When I say speak to someone, specifically, it was a shrink or a psychiatrist, right?
I personally didn't know who he should talk to because I didn't understand the structure of the Coast Guard and what he was doing. But as I understood, there was some outlet, and I told him he should at least talk to someone else.
Why?
The way he talked about her went from I want to be her friend to I want to be her friend and I want to be her wife's friend to a point where I believe that we were getting into maybe inappropriate territory in the sense of these two people had a relationship and he seemed to be wanting to get into that relationship more closely with both of those people.
Fixated on it, right?
Perhaps, yes.
So much so he wasn't even speaking about video games or the like anymore, right?
As time went on, his conversations turned to her.
Utilizing a particular time, and you remember, do you not, sir? His birthday is what date?
The date of his birthday?
His date, it would refresh your memory if I would suggest February 5th.
Okay, that sounds right.
Okay. Utilizing that time, say 2015, sir, when did you speak to him before that date?
Before that date, to be honest, I don't recall. I think I spoke to him once after he left Alaska. Well, twice.
Did you not, sir, or were you not at the Houston airport on a particular day on February 4th where you received a call from Adrian Loya?
That's right.
Okay, you remember that? Now, using that date as a point of reference, sir, when was it, as best you can, this call with him, when you expressed your concerns about his mental state at the time, sir?
That was years before.
Okay? So it was years before that had happened when you had that conversation.
That's right.
And his response to you, sir, as best you can remember, that call about the, maybe getting checked out?
He, as far as I know, he didn't see anyone about it.
As far as you know, but did he, how did he respond when you indicated, hey, you better see somebody, or words to that effect?
I would have to say that maybe that it was fine, not to worry about it.
You don't really remember, or do you?
To be honest, I don't remember.
Okay. Now, you recall, sir, or do you recall, that he would buy action figures and the like, if you know?
I do, yes.
And did they hold a particular interest to him, if you know?
I did know that he bought quite a few of very expensive action figures, and he had them sent to his father's house in Texas.
Okay. Now, I mean, did any of these action figures or the like, for instance, make the cross-country trek with you?
No, they did not.
Okay. And at some point, sir, he had a conversation with you and he told you about this outfit called Giant Bomb. Does that ring a bell?
That's right, yes.
Help us, what is that?
Giant Bomb is a website where they review and cover video games, industry events, computing, electronics to some degree, and it's a community of people who have membership, who have memberships to the website and discuss things on discussion boards.
Okay. Kind of these 3 or 4 nerdy guys up in a warehouse that play with games and put themselves on the wire, stream themselves, right?
That's right, yes.
There. And in doing so and playing with these games and so on and so forth, they do it while they're streaming or all over the radio to people to watch and or listen to, right?
That's right.
And in this relatively long trek you made across the country, in fact, you and Adrian listened or watched those guys up in that warehouse, right?
Yeah, we listened to their podcasts while we were driving.
I didn't have that word, podcast. When I say look at it, there's a podcast.
Well, it was just an audio-only podcast, yes.
Well, so you were familiar with them if and when he would bring up the Giant Bomb people. You knew what that was all about, right?
That's right, yes.
At some point, sir, on or about, if you recall, it was the February 4th conversation with him when he mentioned that outfit of those fellows podcasting Giant Bomb, right?
That's right.
What did he say?
He said he called me because he wanted me to watch a video. He had sent them some items, and he said watching the video would make me happy or it would make me laugh.
What items?
In the conversation, he did not say what the items were.
Okay, but he didn't tell you he had sent something or anything?
Well, I mean, he told me he sent a package and that I should watch the video.
Okay, pursuant to that, did you watch something?
I did, yes.
He'd given a bunch of his personal, expensive items to these folks, didn't he?
That's right.
Now, watching that, did that cause you some concern?
At the time, it did not, just because he had given me expensive items before, and he was very involved in Giant Bomb, so I didn't find that to be completely out of character.
In and around, I'll take you back a bit, sir, to the time you indicated about the Lisa conversations with him, okay? Again, she...
Yes.
Sir, did you have a conversation and or did he share with you a letter he had written to her?
He may have, or he may have just talked about it.
Okay, when you say it and I said letter, please tell us what you know of that.
I want to say he said it was a letter. Yeah, that's how I would describe it.
Well, let me go back then a bit, sir. You talked about, in our answer to Mr. Glennie, you talked about an incident that happened in her apartment, right?
That's right.
And you suggested that you thought something about may jeopardize his life in the Coast Guard, right?
That's right.
And those aren't just your words, those are words you gleaned from conversations with him.
That's right.
Okay. Well, sir, do you recall him telling you that he was raped?
I recall him thinking of it in terms similar to that.
Okay, well, again, you're using the words in terms similar to that. Help us out as best you can. If not even word for word, just help us the best you can.
I mean, he believed that she had like led him on and perhaps made advances, and he believed that this would be, even though he had refused these advances, he believed that it would be misconstrued.
Let me just slow you down a minute.
Yes.
You said twice. You first said he believed, and that's how you couched it. And I'd like to focus as best you can on his words to you describing these events in her apartment, not getting into his state of mind at the time. Are you with me?
Okay.
Not he believed. Just what did he tell you? I mean, I don't want to put I use the word rape. I want to leave it to you, sir. What did he tell you about what happened in her apartment?
He just believed. Well, so he told me he went there. They had drinks. He was concerned because he didn't believe that he should be drinking with her, but that they were friendly with each other, and so he just stayed there and they watched television, and then she made some kind of advance.
Well, that's what I want, his words. Again, you're talking, she made some, are those his words? What were the words that she did? What did he use?
I mean, he said something like she led him into the bedroom, and he did not follow her.
Okay. And again, you used the words. Did he ever use such words as she assaulted me?
He may have, yes.
Okay, now, can you do the best for us when he told you about this event?
I don't know exactly when, but it was after it happened, some point after it happened.
And in telling you that as best you can, sir, what was his state of mind?
He was very upset and I would say even afraid of what the potential consequences could be.
Okay, very afraid and scared, but you're his friend at the time, right?
That's right.
And you told him, you know, she made a pass at you. Did you take her up on it? Did you use such words?
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Not that I recall, no.
I mean, the woman flirting with him or having a drink with him, there's no problem with that, right?
I didn't really know the extent of their relationship because...
Okay. Well, you just said your, somewhat friend from high school who was all upset about it, right?
He was very upset, yes.
Again, now you use those words, he was very upset. What do you attribute that to?
He was just extremely worried and concerned, and he seemed to be coming for me for some kind of guidance, and I didn't have that guidance for him.
Okay, and would you notice that, sir, or the tone of his voice? I mean, was there crying spells, was there hysteria? Just help us out in that regard as best you can.
I mean, definitely the tone of his voice, just the way he described the incident. I don't specifically remember crying, no.
And how long did he talk to you about this incident at her apartment?
He maybe brought it up a few times, and then he described that he was going to report it to his superiors somehow.
Did you give him some advice in that regard after you made that suggestion?
I mean, I told him that, whatever happened, to be honest, yeah, I couldn't give him advice because I did not understand his situation with work and their relationship and things like that.
Okay. How many times, understanding you were only speaking, if at all, every other couple months, right?
Yeah.
Did he bring up that incident that happened?
Maybe 2 or 3 times.
And you remember that? I mean, specifically the Lisa incident or whatever you want to term it, right?
I do remember that, yes.
And all of those other calls, do you remember else that sticks in your mind?
I mean, he forwarded me an email or something to someone in the Coast Guard that he sent concerning either what was going on with Lisa or that incident specifically.
Okay. So, just if I can help you, perhaps, he forwarded you a letter. It wasn't a letter to you, sir, right?
No, it was not.
Who was it a letter to, if you know?
It was someone in the Coast Guard.
Okay, some 20 pages, more or less, if you know.
I'm talking about a different letter. This one was maybe one paragraph long.
Okay, did you ever see a letter addressed or sent, as he told you, to Lisa, or he wanted to share with you, sir?
He may have shared a portion of it.
Okay, verbally or via email or some other?
I don't remember.
And again, just going back to when he first went to Alaska, other than these few talks with Lisa, your communication and or relationship became strained, is that fair? What I mean by strained, not, it was still harmonious, but you just didn't talk a lot, right?
That's correct.
And then wrapping up, I think Mr. Glennie told you about, or asked you about when he was leaving Alaska. Do you remember that?
Specifically, what?
Okay, well, his enlistment at that particular little island base of Kodiak had simply ended, right?
As far as I understand it, yes.
Right. And that was the reason he was being reassigned. Is that fair?
That's right.
Nothing further.
Anything further, Attorney
Yes,
Glenn?
please. Just a few things. Referring back to Mr. Loya's dog, you had indicated, had you seen that dog on the trip when you went across country?
I don't remember if it was with us or not.
Okay. Was it with you when it got dropped off with his father at some other time? Were you with Mr. Loya then?
I'm sorry. Can
Yeah,
you
whether
repeat
it was the
question?
time you went across country or not, were you with Mr. Loya when he dropped the dog off with his father to watch?
I want to say I wasn't, but I do not remember specifically.
Fair enough. That dog was older, though?
Yes, it was an older dog.
Do you remember Mr. Loya having that dog when you were in high school?
Yes, I do.
Did you ever see them interact together, Mr. Loya and the dog?
Yes.
How would you describe that interaction?
Love.
Okay. And fair to say he loved that dog, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And you indicated when there were some conversations about Lisa and that whatever incident had happened, Mr. Loya was concerned about the consequences, right?
That's correct.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, he believed that it would influence his ability to up his enlistment.
Did he tell you why?
He may have. I don't remember specifics.
Was it because of the ranks of the two individuals?
I object. Still his witness.
He can have that. He can have that.
If you know.
I don't know their ranks.
No, I'm not asking if you know their ranks. Is that what he was concerned about, though?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Or was it about what had happened?
What do you mean?
What did he tell you? Was he afraid about the actual incident that happened or their individual positions within the Coast Guard?
He was just concerned it would jeopardize his ability to stay in the Coast Guard for a longer period of time.
Well, surely, sir, when you told him you should seek help, it wasn't simply because he wasn't being in rank, right?
That had nothing to do with it.
What did it have to do?
Lisa and his what I believed was an inappropriate fascination with her.
Fixation, those words, sir.
Yes.
Nothing further.
Nothing.
Thank you, sir. You may step aside. Thank you.
May this witness be excused?
Mr. Segadelli, any reason to have this witness
No
stand
reason.
by? Thank you.
Thank you. Christian Umita.
Sir, would you please raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury and the issues now pending between the Commonwealth and the defendant at the bar shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, in a nice loud voice, could you state your name and could you spell your last name?
Tristan Umeda, and last name is Umeda.
And how are you employed, sir?
What was that?
How are you employed?
I'm self-employed. I own a business.
Okay, and drawing your attention to February of 2015, how were you employed?
I was employed at the Quality Inn and Bourne as a front desk agent
And how long had you been working there then?
for about, I'm going to say 5 months,
I'm sorry?
around 5 months.
All right, were you working there in October of 2015? 2014, not 15, 2014. Okay. And drawing your attention first to October of 2014, do you have occasion to check somebody into the Quality Inn?
I did have the ability to check people in.
Okay, and did you check in an Adrian Loya?
I actually don't remember in October.
And if you did, would there be a record of that?
There should be.
All right, and was that a record that would be kept in the normal course of business?
It should be kept in the computer system.
And in February of 5th of 2015, did you have occasion to check Mr. Loya in?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that. When did you see him?
I saw him, it was during the daytime. It was, I remember the weather was bad. It was checked in. It was just a normal check-in at the time. He had talked about the weather for a little bit and pretty normal check-in.
All right. Was there any discussion about the cost of the room?
I believe there was about, I'm pretty sure he booked it online
Okay,
and he wanted a military discount.
okay, and what did you tell him?
I couldn't change the discount when you book the rooms online.
Okay. And did you see him further on during that period of time?
After he checked in, I think I only saw him go out once, and then that was about it.
Okay, were you working when he checked out, if you know? Or
No.
did he check out?
He didn't check out. He was in the room for multiple days.
Do you recognize those?
Yeah.
What are those?
What about it?
What are they?
Oh, they're it's a check-in. Just this is basically the receipt
For who?
for the hotel, and if you wanted a copy.
Okay, but for who? Was that me? Who checked in?
Oh, it was for Adrian Loya
In what room?
in room 101.
I'm sorry?
Room 101, which is a jacuzzi suite.
I'd offer this.
No objection.
Next number exhibit, please. Run staple through them, please, Ms. Clerk.
Number 78.
If you kind of look at those documents.
All right, it looks like it's a folio from, I'm not sure if it's one or two hotels. I noticed that one of the documents is from another hotel.
Well, just the ones that reflect your hotel.
Toronto.
What is that?
That's the folio one. It looks like it's folio from October of 2014 that I checked in, and one of my colleagues had checked them out.
All right, and that would be who was checked in?
Adrian Loya.
And what was the date of the check-in?
The date was October 21st, 2014.
And the checkout?
October 24th, 2014.
Take that off this one.
No objection.
Next number, exhibit, please.
Number 79.
And just, if you could tell us, what was the extent of your interaction that you recall with Mr. Loya on February of 2015?
From what I recall, he wanted a different rate, but I believe he booked it online. Like I said, I can't change the rate after that. And he just talked about the weather and how it was snowing, and I believe he talked about, he said he had shoveled somebody out, helped somebody shovel at a gas station on his way up. And
Was there anything about him when you interacted with him that caused you to notice anything out of the ordinary?
it's pretty standard check-in, small talk, and
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you, thank you, sir. You may step aside. Thank
thank
you.
May I just excuse us?
Please.
Thank you.
Your Honor, can we be heard at sidebar prior to the next witness?
Sure, come on over. Oh, Madam Court Officer, if you'd be kind enough to collect the transcripts A and B from the jurors, please. When you're ready, counsel.
Thank you. Dr. Zane, please.
Sir, would you please raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury, the issues now pending between the Commonwealth and the defendant at the bar shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Doctor, you can pull up that leaf on the stand if you need it for your reports and stuff. It has a bar underneath. Yep.
Sir, to begin with, can you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
It's William Zane, Z-A-N-E.
How are you currently employed?
I'm retired from the medical examiner's office,
How long did you work for the medical examiner's office?
approximately 28 years.
And in what capacity?
As a medical examiner, a pathologist.
Could you describe a little bit about your educational background and experience?
Yes, after medical school, I spent 1 year as a medical intern at a small hospital in New Haven, Connecticut. Then I elected to go into pathology and spent 3 years in hospital pathology at Hartford Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut. And then I elected to go into what's called a subspecialty. Medicine has specialties such as psychiatry and surgery and medicine, and then it's broken into subspecialties such as plastic surgery. One of the subspecialties in pathology is forensic or legal pathology. And I spent a year training at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Baltimore, Maryland.
And was it after then that you came to work in Massachusetts?
Yes.
Now, turning your attention to February 6th of 2015, was that fair to say that was prior to your retirement?
Yes.
And on that day, did you have occasion to conduct any examinations?
Yes.
Of whom, please?
Of a Elisa Tribakova.
And is that with the date of birth of March 13th, 1983?
Bear with me. Yes.
And where did this examination take place?
At the Southeastern Regional Medical Examiner's Office, which is right off the base in Mashpee, Sandwich area.
And there are facilities there to conduct such an investigation, an examination?
Yes.
Can you describe a little bit to the jury about the purpose of the examination?
Yes, it's initially we obtained some information as to why the person is there to be examined. Then we direct people to make notations of the clothes, remove the clothes, We look at the body, and we make diagrams and notations as to whether, how they're built, and look for the presence or absence of trauma. We take photographs, digital photographs, and as I said, we take notes, and at later point, we make incisions into the body, make correlations as to what we see externally with what we see internally, look for natural disease, take fluids for toxicology, and at the end of that, we prepare a report and death certificate.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes.
Now, when you first saw Ms. Krupnikova's body, what did you observe?
That she was dressed and had bags on her hands.
And you indicated that during this process, photographs are taken, correct?
Yes.
And was that done in this case?
Yes.
Right. Sir, I'm showing you a board. Can you just look at those photographs and where they're covered, sort of flip them up to have a look at them, and let me know when you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Do you recognize what's depicted on this board?
Yes, I do.
What are those photographs?
Those were photographs taken that day of the autopsy.
And the photographs that are covered, do those fairly and accurately depict what you saw of Ms. Krupnikova?
Yes.
And the other photographs, what do those depict?
Projectile bullets that were recovered.
And do those fairly and accurately depict what you saw?
Yes.
Ask that this be marked as an exhibit, please.
Offered.
No objection.
Next number exhibit, please.
Same process, sir. You do the same with the second board.
Okay. Yes.
Same question for this board. The ones that are covered, that fairly and accurately depict what you saw of Ms. Krupnikova that night?
Yes.
And the other photos?
Again, those are bullets recovered.
Ask that this be marked as an exhibit, please.
No objection.
Next number exhibit, please.
81.
Now, sir, as you went through the process of examining Ms. Krupnikova, what did you observe on the body?
That she had injuries, they were firearm injuries, that gunshot wounds.
How could you tell they were gunshot wounds?
Through experience and through examination of the wounds themselves.
Okay. And in the course of examining those wounds, what, if anything, did you do to record and make notes of what was present?
Again, we made diagrams and examined the wounds.
How many gunshot wounds did you observe?
11.
Okay. And fair to say you numbered them?
Yes.
Now, the numbering system that you use, what does that say about the wounds and the order in which they were received, if anything?
Has nothing to do with the way they were received. It's just the relative severity of the injury caused by the wound.
Okay. Can you tell from your examination the order in which those 11 wounds were received?
No.
Your Honor, at this point, I'd ask permission to set up the...
Please.
Doctor, another board.
Yes.
Do you recognize what's depicted on this?
Yeah, that's a worksheet that I use on a regular basis.
So this would be a fair pull-up of the worksheet that you would have used that night?
Yes.
That's this could be marked just for identification at this point.
Next number for next letter, excuse me, for identification.
Identification J.
Thank you.
And may the witness have permission to come down from the witness?
Yes, please, doctor, as you need to.
Okay. Doctor, what I'd like to do at this point is take you through the wounds as you catalog them. So can you describe for the jury the first wound that you cataloged?
Yes, there was a gunshot wound to left shoulder or left chest. The person put it on my body, approximately a little bit of slits.
Is that writing?
Linda, can you slide over a bit so the doctor's got a little bit of room there? Thank you.
I just made a mark on the left shoulder.
And what does that mark indicate on that diagram?
The gunshot entrance.
All right. And were you able to determine a path of travel through the body?
Yes.
And can you describe that for the jury?
It went underneath the skin through soft tissue. It injured a vein on the left side of the neck, and it went up above the sternum and went through a rib, actually part of the upper right lung, and then hit a rib and stopped in soft tissue.
And was anything recovered from inside that wound?
Yes, it will.
All right. And transitioning to the photo board, if you can look at pictures 1A and 1B, please. Photograph 1A, what does that depict?
That's a close-up of the left shoulder.
And is that the wound you just described to the jury?
Yes, it is.
And 1B, what does that depict?
That's the bullet or projectile that was recovered from the rib on the right side.
And doctor, I'm going to ask you to look at an item. Like some gloves. You can just look in that bag and tell me if you recognize that. You recognize that item?
Yes.
What is that?
It's a bullet.
Ask it that's be marked as an exhibit, please.
Okay.
Next number, exhibit. I believe the gentleman just said it's a bullet. Is that what he said?
Excuse me?
What bullet is it?
It's a bullet that, with notation on the envelope that says it's from right at the third rib, and it's consistent with, it is this bullet.
Offer it as an exhibit.
Next number, exhibit, please.
Number 82.
Doctor, moving on to the second wound, can you describe that for the jury?
There was a bullet wound below the left arm on the back. For the purpose of the report, I've just made a circle where the wound was approximately. This was a bullet wound that resulted in a path that went through skin and soft tissue. It went into the chest cavity, hitting the bone. It went through the lung, top of the lung, then it went through the pericardium, covering the heart. It lacerated the aorta, went through the pericardium, went through the lung, and then broke up the rib on the opposite side.
And was a projectile recovered from in that wound?
Yes.
And looking at photos 2A and 2B, can you pick up the flap on 2A? What's depicted in that photograph?
It's the back, and for the purpose of the report now, I'm pointing on the photo where the wound is. Okay?
And 2B?
It's a photo of the envelope with my name on it. That's my writing, and right above the envelope is a bullet.
And what bullet is that?
That bullet was recovered in the right axilla, under the right arm.
From that wound?
Yes.
And sir, I'm showing you an item, if you can look at that item.
There's an envelope in here is this envelope, and a projectile that's consistent with that projectile, so I'm saying that's the bullet recovered from the axilla on the right side.
Thank you. Offer this as an exhibit, please.
Offered.
No objection.
Next number exhibit.
Number 83.
Moving on to the third, can you describe the third wound that you examined?
Yes, there was a gunshot into the back of the right thigh. Into the jury, point on my back of my right thigh, the approximate area where this was, and this resulted in a path that went through skin, soft tissue, and muscle, and the bullet was recovered behind the pelvis on right under the body.
And can you indicate that on the diagram? Or look.
This is the back of the leg, and at the bottom of the picture is some leg discoloration on the leg. That's the wound I'm describing now. There's another wound that has a ruler next to it, but that's not what I'm describing.
Fair to say you're describing the wound that's in the bottom left corner of that picture?
Yes.
Okay. And looking at 3B?
It's not my handwriting, but it's the envelope I use my name on. It says inferior retro retroperitoneal or something, meaning that it's behind, it's not in the pelvis, it's behind and below the pelvis, or the pelvic cavity.
And is that the bullet that was recovered from that wound?
Yes.
And I apologize if you've already done this, but if not, can you mark the location of that wound on the diagram?
back of the right
Okay. And sir, if you can look at this item, please. Tell me if you can identify that.
That's the envelope the bullet was in, and that's the bullet that was recovered.
From that wound.
Yes.
Offer that as an exhibit, please.
No objection.
Next number exhibit, please.
Number 84.
84. Jurors, time for lunch. Please go about your business. Enjoy your lunch. Be in your jury room ready to go at 2 o'clock. I'll bring you down and put you to work. Thank you.
All rise for the jury.
Doctor, 2 o'clock, please, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The jurors are out of the room. To the members of the media, as I've often said, your rights to cover a trial are described, 1, in Rule 1-19, and 2, your rights are coterminous with the rights of the public. Members of the public have the opportunity at appropriate times, with the clerk's acquiescence, to examine any exhibits in a case. For that reason, certainly any member of the media will, at an appropriate time, be able to examine the photographs and the diagram being created of the body. However, under Rule 1-19, I am ordering there to be no photography, videoing, or other seizing of the image of either the body diagram or the photographs from the autopsy. Those are off bounds as far as imaging. Thank you. I'll see counsel at the sidebar on a matter.